For the first time in almost a decade, IndyCars are racing again in Milwaukee. It's the perfect place to spend the final weekend of summer, Labor Day weekend, and the Midway is alive at the Wisconsin State Fair Park, and fans have been funneling in throughout the day. And the championship could be decided in this doubleheader weekend. Penske's Will Power became the first this season to win for a third time last weekend at Portland to move into second in points. But Ganassi's Alex Palou still has a full race lead for his third championship in 4 years. Welcome to IndyCar Live, presented by Liberty Mutual. This is the Hy-Vee Milwaukee Mile 250s, the first of 2 races this weekend. And what's to play for? The Astor Cup. And Alex Palou could retain that this weekend. One of the great state fairs. So many great sporting ventures in Milwaukee and in Wisconsin. The Green Bay Packers once played at this facility in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, but the Milwaukee Mile is all about racing. Thanks for joining us today. Kevin Lee along with Townsend Bell and James Hinchcliffe. First of all, Townsend, how cool is it to be back at the mile?
Kevin, there is an energy and an enthusiasm here at Milwaukee that is refreshing. It's energizing for me to see so many families, lots of kids that are IndyCar fans here closing out their summer in fine style. But I think more than just the energy at the racetrack, it's what's happening on this storied, rich historical surface that's so fun this weekend. It's totally unpredictable. The racing line much different than what James and I were used to in racing here, and I think we're in for a real treat this afternoon.
You both have been very good here. Hinch, 3 top 5s, including a podium. What's the challenge of this racetrack?
There's a lot of challenges here, Kev, especially for these race teams with basically a new car from the last time we were here back in 2014. But a lot of it is going to be about making those 2 lanes work. If you're going to make progress throughout this race, you got to take care of those tires, but you got to be able to make passes both up high and down low. Now, unlike Gateway, unlike Iowa, the preferred line is that second lane. It's going to be going down to the white line, down to that first lane to really get those passes done. But having a car that's good on both is going to be absolutely key.
As mentioned, Alex Palou is still in very good shape for the championship. It would be his 3rd in 4 years. Going into last weekend, Will Power was trying to stay alive. He knew he had to finish ahead of Palou to take the championship to the final 2 weekends.
Green, green, green. Still there, still there. I pressed too early. 1 off.
Dixon got hit behind you.
All right, well, that was quick. LA squeezed me off onto the curb. He gave me no room.
Get to the weapon.
The 27 caused all of that mayhem, to be honest.
No, clear out. Okay, Cole, we need you to drop behind the 30 for an unapproved engine start with a hybrid in pit lane.
Why do we have these things if you can't use them? Coming to the checker. Way to execute, buddy. Great job, guys. That makes things a little more interesting.
We'll do our best and see if we can get a championship.
The points lead is now 54, so great job. Thank you. On to Milwaukee.
Will Power and the 12 team did just about everything right last week at Portland. You've been pretty adamant with this point situation that you guys just have to be on offense at all times. With some of the unknowns today, how do you stay aggressive and stay on offense and ultimately cut into that points lead even more?
Yeah, I would say it is a bit of an unknown because no one ran full tanks. The tyres definitely degrade, so there's certainly that balance of 4-stop, better tyres through the race, or a 3-stop where, you know, you're doing 1 less pit stop. Yellows might govern that, but like I've said to our team, like, man, you know, we are in a position to take a risk at this point. We have to finish ahead of Palou or it's over, so we understand that and we're going to be smart about it and try to get the best result I can for the Horizon 12 car.
Yeah, it's simple on paper. Will Power just got to win if he wants to continue to fight for this championship. Georgia, he won here in 2014. That'd be another timely victory for the 12 team today.
Yes, it would, Dylan. And Alex Palou starts 12th today, 7 spots behind Will Power. We know the goal today doesn't change, which is to win. But does your approach change at all, given your starting position?
Not really. I mean, it's still the same goal as you said. Try and win the race. We can win, try and finish second, try and get as high as we can. But we know we have a great car. I think we're starting a little bit further back than we wanted, obviously, and that what the car could have been if we would have done a great qualifying. So yeah, looking forward to the race. It's going to be a bit chaotic, I think, with the tire deck, different driving lines and different strategies. So yeah, looking forward to a survival with a good ending race.
Does the championship hunt play into every decision that you make on track today?
I don't think so. Maybe the last stint, you don't want to go crazy, but I need to race hard. Like, that's how we got here. We got here to this point racing hard, trying to get as many positions as we could and trying to go for wins every single weekend. So that's what we're going to try and do today as well.
Championship points leader Alex Palou is going to roll off 12 today.
Townsend, he says the approach does not change. Is he telling us the full truth?
I think he is, and it's the approach over the last 3 years that have led to Palou's 2 championships. Look, when things get crazy, like he just alluded to, and the inferno erupts with 27 drivers, what Palou has the magical ability to do is to rise above the flames and have kind of a 1,000-foot perspective, keep things in big picture, and understand how critical it is to simply finish unscathed from a championship perspective.
Now, I agree with all of that, but let's just bring attention to one thing. The only blemish on his record so far this season was Iowa Race 1, unforced error, all by himself while running mid-pack on a short oval, fighting for the win. He is starting mid-pack on a short oval, going for a win here today. It's the only time we've seen a mistake out of the championship leader. You just never know. Things happen fast and furious at a short track like Milwaukee.
Well, we are certainly focused on the championship with 3 races and 2 weekends to go. Plenty of other storylines, fast Penske cars, and a big milestone weekend for Scott Dixon as well. Will detail coming up in a moment. You're watching IndyCar Live, presented by Liberty Mutual. Only pay for what you need. You still have a chance to drive away with a new Corvette courtesy of Hy-Vee all season. Enter for a chance to win one of 3 Corvettes. There's one left. Grab your mobile device and scan the QR code on your screen to enter. It is great to be back at the Milwaukee Mile for a doubleheader weekend of IndyCar racing.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you rise and remove your hats as the 128th Air Refueling Wing of Wisconsin Air National Guard presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as IndyCar Ministry Chaplain Chuck Lessick offers today's invocation.
Let's pray. Lord God, we pause for just a moment to invite you into our race tonight. Let that cool breeze remind us that you are ever present. We're so excited for the IndyCar return to Milwaukee and to be here with our racing friends. Lord, we just look to you tonight for a safe yet exciting evening of racing. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Here to honor America with the singing of our national anthem, please welcome State Fair favorites, the Kids from Wisconsin.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Fans, let's hear it one more time for the Kids from Wisconsin and their performance of the national anthem.
So that means we're getting close to go time. Drivers are being called to their cars. So many storylines to get to. While we cover some of them, you can take a look at the starting grid on the left-hand side of your screen. And with that, let's do a little mini grid walk, and we start with Dylan Welch.
And let's start at the front of the field. Scott McLaughlin scored his 4th pole of the year, but next to him is David Malukas, his 2nd straight oval start on the front row. And it was shattered dreams at Gateway a couple weeks ago when he was in position for his first career win, but feels just as good today and hopes he can take advantage of another front row start and potentially also take advantage of some guys at the front who might be points racing. So we'll watch for Malukas starting 2nd. Row 2 is 2 more fast cars. Alexander Rossi was pretty honest a couple minutes ago. I asked him what we're going to see today, and he said, honestly, I don't really know. We're kind of making all of our best guesses right now. They've been fast this weekend, though. Made a couple changes before qualifying that they felt like really brought them back into the window of performance. Rossi will be strong. Next to him is Linus Lundqvist, 3rd at Gateway a couple weeks ago. He's got experience at the front of the field twice now this year and is more confident now than he's ever been as a full-time rookie in the NTT IndyCar Series, Georgia.
Yeah, and Dylan, as we make our way through the field, Marcus Armstrong, he's going to start in that 16th position. He just came off of tied his best finish of the year, 2nd best finish of the year in 5th. But we have to remember, he qualified in that 7th position. He had a 9-spot grid penalty for an engine change, and he'll be serving that starting in the 16th position. But all momentum going for Marcus Armstrong. Scott Dixon, the 6-time champion, he's making his 400th NTT IndyCar Series start. He's going to start 17th. There's only been 2 drivers to do that. That's him and Mario Andretti at 407. Scott Dixon going to start in that 17th position, hitting a huge milestone. And then back here in the 19th position, that's Santino Ferrucci. We have to remember, he sat on the pole in Portland just 1 week ago. He had a major save in qualifying. He saved it. He feels good, and he's feeling sporty starting at that 19th position. He's going to have some work to do. Guys.
And there's a look at Scott McLaughlin. All 4 oval weekends, there were 2 poles at Iowa. He's been up front. This guy has figured this out.
Yeah, when it comes to oval poles, it's kind of been his show so far this year. He's got that win at Iowa. He said he could finally call himself an IndyCar driver after getting that first oval win, and I know he'd love to do it again here tonight, but this thing is going to race like Old Iowa, and we know how good his teammate, Joseph Newgarden, was on Old Iowa.
And I think that this is something special for Joseph Newgarden tonight because he has experience here at Milwaukee. In practice, nobody ran the tires as deep as this guy. He was 75 laps on the tires, the car sliding around. It's very uncomfortable. And he has experience not only in previous years, but in this configuration.
Qualified 2nd, but starts 11th because of an engine change penalty. You're watching IndyCar Live, brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. Elf, the beauty company that stands with every eye, lip, and face, is empowering legendary females like Catherine Legg, the only female driver on the track today, making her 5th start of the season. 27 cars set to go. There are several still alive in the championship, probably down to 3. And it's going to take some misfortune for Alex Palou or anybody else to get there.
Well, and I tell you, for Alex Palou, he better watch out in the first corner of lap 1 because he has Colton Herta and Joseph Newgarden right around him. Those are 2 drivers that I think are going to go big early and try to make some magic happen, and Palou just has to stay out of trouble.
And look, when you look at only 2 drivers really still in this thing, everyone else, they're just going for broke, guys. They're not thinking about points. They're just thinking about wins. Lots of drivers going to be aggressive this late in the season.
Let's talk planning and strategy and start with the 12 stand. Dylan.
Ron Rzuski calls strategy for Will Power. So everybody seems to kind of be a little perplexed about how this is going to shake out today. So how much learning is going to be done on the timing stands here kind of early on in this race as far as what the strategy will look like today?
Thanks, Dylan. Man, you know, we're going to have to watch today. It's the first time we've been here in a long time. We love coming and racing in Milwaukee. You know, I think we had to really pay attention to the tire deg. I don't think fuel mileage would be a big issue, but there did seem to be some tire deg last night. But the you know, the Verizon Chevy's been good all weekend, and Will's determined, and you know, we're just going to have some fun with it. These guys are great next door to us, and we're just going to race them heads up.
Will has been very confident and adamant that you guys are just going to have fun and just go for it, and nothing to lose. How do you do that today on the strategy stand? Just how do you be aggressive and make up spots?
You know, the guys behind me are you know, some of the best in the business, and you know, we'll just be monitoring the tire wear, you know, monitoring what everyone's doing, watching lap times, and you know, we'll do our best precision guesswork tonight.
Thanks, Ron. It's going to be fun to watch the 12 and the 10 Georgia battle this one out over the next couple weeks.
Yeah, let's move on down to the 10 timing stand and talk to Barry Wanzer, strategist for Alex Palou. Can you lead us in to any insight on strategy today?
Well, first I have to say it's awesome to be back here in Milwaukee. It's a classic racetrack. It's great. It's perfect for IndyCar. It's great to have a doubleheader here. As far as strategy, we can do it on fuel in 3 stops, but we think with the tire deg it's probably going to be 4 stops. We'll see. There's a lot of unknowns. We had those unknowns going into Gateway, but it ended up being a great race. We had a lot of passing and you know, more pit stops than expected. So it's been one with 3 stops, 4 stops, and 5 stops in the past. So we're looking to have fun, move forward, and hopefully have a great day.
With the championship tightening up just a little bit, is there more of an emphasis on aggression for this race?
No, not at all. I mean, we're going to, you know, Alex is going to race the way he's been racing all year. Our goal is to finish as far forward as possible, and that's to win the race. And we want to hopefully get his first oval win.
We knew that. The goal to win for Alex Palou and Barry Wanzer.
Thanks.
And he is one of the many that have not been here before. It's much easier to talk about who has raced at the Milwaukee Mile. There are 5, would have been 6. Ed Carpenter has stepped out of the car, and Christian Rasmussen is finishing the season in the 20.
And I think that's really going to come to the fore when we get to late in the tire stint. So we're talking about lap 40 to 60 if you're doing this on 3 stops. That's where the experienced drivers, you see them there, Dixon Power, Ray Hall, Newgarden, and Legg, they're familiar with how unpleasant the car is going to feel at that point in the tire stint, and the advantage starts to swing their way.
Starts, restarts, in and out laps. Those things are also going to be very important in these green flag pit cycles. We talk about it all the time. And again, the drivers that have done it for that first round, at least, it's going to be important and it's going to be helpful to have that experience, even though it was 10 years ago.
So you've got the championship in play, but you've got a lot of quality drivers that don't have a win yet this season, and they have only 3 more chances to get it done. We're not far from Chicago, where Mr. Cubberty Banks always said, let's play 2. We'll do it this weekend in Milwaukee. It's time to get going and get the engine started for race 1.
Here to give the command for today's race, please welcome your Grand Marshal, Paul Bartolotta.
Gentlemen, drivers, start your engines!
Thank you, Kevin.
Sweet sounds. That means we are moments away from the return of IndyCars at the historic Milwaukee Mile. The green is coming up next exclusively on Peacock with NBC Sports.
The Milwaukee Mile. She's as old as the sport of open-wheel racing and has seen her share of events and winners over the last century plus. From Rex Mays to Rick Mears, myself, and AJ Foyt. For the drivers today, welcome to the mile. It may seem simple enough on paper, but don't let that fool you. The 4 flat corners are wide and inviting, but there is risk in every pass. Get it right, and you'll join a long list of legends that have been victorious at the iconic Oval.
And Michael Andretti has won here in Milwaukee. Al Unser Jr. has won.
After a 9-year pause, IndyCar is back at the historic Milwaukee Mile.
Thank you to the legendary Mario Andretti, a 4-time winner at the mile. His son Michael won 5. Roger Ward, a 7-time winner. And IndyCar is back. Welcome to the Hy-Vee Milwaukee Mile for race number 1. Let's look at the track preview of this tight, short 1-mile oval brought to you by Honda.
And Kevin, what's unique this year is that dark patch down low does not have grip like you would normally expect. In fact, the older pavement up high is the grippier surface. That's what's thrown a curveball to everybody this weekend, and that's why we can't wait to see how the race plays out.
IndyCar fans have asked for more oval racing. The championship will be decided with 3 ovals to finish the season. They've wanted to come back to Milwaukee. We're here 2 times this weekend. The Milwaukee Mile hosting IndyCar for the first time in over a decade, and we will not go this time too slow on the start for the 27 assembled IndyCar machines, and they will pace for 1 more mile.
Not often you see that issue kind of been a hot topic after the Gateway restart, but I thought the field looked good. I'm surprised it was thrown off, but because it was technically a yellow flag throw and the lap count has started.
You got to think McLaughlin's saying exactly what you were just thinking as well, James, which is, how is that not acceptable after what happened at Gateway? But they'll stack them and rack them one more time.
Indy cars have been racing here since 1939. Cars since 1903. The track dates to 1876. This is where Indy cars belong. The Milwaukee Mile is back. Let's go!
Green.
And it's McLaughlin with the early jump. Malukas tucked in at second. Battles further back.
Here comes Linus Lundqvist going way high on David Malukas to try to take second place. Some tire smoke as they go 3 wide further behind.
Almost certainly contact mid-pack there as Pato O'Ward tries to take a look, and they're 3 wide. Rinus VeeKay down the inside as Joseph Newgarden, the blue and white car, trying to find his way through.
That's Connor Daly running it way up high in the JHR machine, trying to make some moves early. Joseph Newgarden got better of it, got out of that third lane, tucked in line as we see Herden now making moves on the outside.
And Linus Lundqvist jumped up to second, right behind the red and white Odyssey battery car of Scott McLaughlin.
But Colton Herta on the move. The Gamebridge driver, that white, black, and yellow car, is pushing along with Connor Daly. The track is perfectly clean right now. He's up 11 spots in 4 laps.
That is an incredible run from Connor. He was up in that third lane. Nobody went there in practice. You see there, I think that's Santino Ferrucci trying to make it happen. That door is going to close. Jack Harvey has Kirkwood on the inside. Frantic first laps here.
Ferrucci is driving like this is a restart with 5 to go. It's getting nuts.
Tried the slide job there on Jack Harvey, made it stick. Got the dirty air from Kirkwood, slid up the racetrack, and up front now Rossi losing position. Started P3, that's Power going by down to 7th for the number 7.
And Alex Palou, championship leader, is in 13th, and Connor Daly is trying to get him next. Daly is plus 12.
Absolutely unbelievable start from Connor Daly. Had that engine penalty, wasn't a great qualifying effort anyway. Started all the way back in 25th position. He's already now running in 14th.
Did you see the sparks there, I think, on Ferrucci's car? Almost like the right front wing end fence was dragging a little bit as we ride on board Kyle Kirkwood, thanks to Auto Nation. And Ferrucci up 4 positions so far. He's currently 15th as Nolan Siegel, rookie, and Christian Rasmussen, also a rookie, start to battle it out. You know, watching that onboard from Alexander Rossi and Nolan Siegel here, the McLarens, James, in qualifying and in practice, they just have a lot of kickback through the steering wheel. It's almost like the dampers not quite absorbing things as much as some of the other cars. It's been a battle on board for a lot of the drivers, and I wonder if Rossi is already feeling some ill effects from that early on.
Look, it was a huge qualifying effort from Alex Rossi, getting that car up onto the 2nd row there. Watching Nolan Siegel battle with Rasmussen side by side. NTT providing those pictures for us, and it's going to be a lot of this side-by-side action all night. But just going back to Rossi, I honestly think that you mentioned it, whether it was Siegel, O'Ward, Rossi, all of them seem to be struggling with the compliance on the front end of those cars. Rossi did a great job hanging on to it for a few laps, but hanging on to it for 250 is a very different deal.
Rasmussen making just his 2nd oval start, did very well at the Indianapolis 500, tested well. So we see Catherine Legg chasing him, and then look at McLaughlin back up front by just over a second. But Ed Carpenter said Rasmussen gives us a better chance. We're going to let him finish out the season. And McLaughlin has settled in quite nicely now.
Not long until Scott will catch the back end of the field. It's Christian Lundgaard and Pietro Fittipaldi running 26 and 27, and they are circulating about a full second slower. So only lap 10, and it feels great right now for Scotty Mack, but in a few laps he will be falling into the clutches of dirty air as Joseph Newgarden and Ferrucci battle it out.
Newgarden surprisingly hasn't made any progress. Let's take a replay from the start. That's Newgarden and Romain Grosjean. That's the puff of smoke that we saw. A little bit of contact. Newgarden up high in the blue and white machine. I wonder if there was some damage done, because normally Newgarden's making moves at this part of a race when starting that far back. As Grosjean just sort of fading up a little bit.
Further back, you see Daly going about 4 wide on the high side. That's how he picked up so many spots. On board with Newgarden now.
Newgarden really holding position, and Grosjean just kind of sliding up, probably with some dirty air on the nose as we take a look at Connor Daly. Watch this.
3 wide.
Wow.
2, 3.
That might be the preferred line all day long if there's that much grip available. He's not done yet, guys. He comes into turn 3, and he just flat sends it.
Bye, Kyle. Bye, Jack. He's just absolutely on a different planet right there on those restarts. That momentum that you can carry just covers you the whole lap. Great early moves from Connor Daly now, who's settled into the 15th place.
That's because Ferrucci got by him, so Ferrucci is +6. Daly still the biggest mover, 10 spots forward. Colton Herta is still in the championship. He's moved up 5 spots and is running 5th.
And watch Joseph Newgarden here. This is where his experience, his ability, and the Penske setup is really going to start to eat into the field. James Newgarden just in 11th right now, but you can tell Grosjean already struggling, and Joe New's going to try to just start picking them off one at a time. This is where he really got he got a lot of help in practice, Dylan, running in these conditions deep into the tire stint. This feels right at home for him.
Well, and Newgarden said he felt like their car was going to be good. The raceability he felt was really strong. We saw him racing with Ferrucci just a few laps ago. This was the radio right before that happened.
All right, he's back to the 14. He's making the third lane work both ends. He's better in 3 and 4.
Yeah, let me know if he keeps hanging up there.
Yeah, he still is right now.
But it's interesting that these cars that charge from the back have sort of stabilized. And talking about Ferrucci, too, as you see Tim Cindric there watching over his driver, Newgarden. Ferrucci mentioned wanting to have a car that was built in with a little bit of looseness and freeness to be able to move around on the racetrack. I think you saw that early, but you don't want to be too free because there's several cars that are already complaining about the fact that they are too free. So finding that balance was going to be really tricky for a lot of these guys that started deeper in the field.
And Dylan, it's really great to see how smart Newgarden is about asking about a driver who's 2 spots behind. The reason he wants to know if Ferrucci's going to stay high here is he wants to know if the groove is clean. Because if Ferrucci's running there, that means Joe New can use that to find clean air behind Rinus VeeKay. Newgarden's been running low, but as long as the lane is clean now, you see Scotty Mack running up high, so it's really opening this groove to almost 2 to 2.5 car widths wide.
As our leader catches the tail end of the field, guys, this is when everything changes. It's easy when you're out front, you've got that clean air, but to be successful at a short track like this, you need to be good and efficient in traffic. That's what Joseph Newgarden was always so good at, so strong when we raced at Iowa, and it had the high tire degradation like we're expecting to see here today. It's part of the reason why I think maybe Newgarden's not trying to push too hard early on this first set. He's trying to take care of those Firestones and let it come to him. As we get these pictures from Odyssey Battery, your pole sitter, you see that lap car right in front. That is Pietro Fittipaldi.
Watch the throttle trace on telemetry on the left-hand side. Listen to just how gently he rolls in. It's squeeze and breathe on the pedals. It's no stomping, it's no stabbing. It is like a dimmer switch, and you got to treat it with huge respect. Georgia?
Well, I just wanted to piggyback off Dylan a little bit, because after Scott McLaughlin set the pole time for today, I asked him, qualifying was amazing. How do you feel your race pace is going to be? And he said, I think I'm going to be better than most. There's still some unknowns, but we are so confident going into this race. So it seems to be a trend for the 2 and the 3 teams.
McLaughlin has been in charge since the jump. Lundqvist picked up a spot on the first lap, and Colton Herta continues to move forward, now up 6. He just got Pato Award not long ago to move to 4th.
Okay, Colton Herta has been looking really strong in these first 20 laps as he got Pato Award right there, and now tracks the back of the sister teammate David Malukas. The partnership between Meyer-Shank and Andretti. Meyer-Shank had the measure of Andretti in qualifying, but now with Colton Herta on race pace, he looks very, very sporty.
And he's getting much farther down onto that darker asphalt, trying to get that clean air on his front wing. So even if he's the only guy going down there, it's slowly going to get better and better. And right now, He's chasing down David Malukas. And Dylan, what's happening with the 66?
Yeah, he runs in the third spot right now, and a lot of talk on the radio as the field begins to navigate through this slower traffic. This was the conversation on Malukas' radio a moment ago.
It's in a little bit on the edge, a little bit of oversteer.
Marbles are probably pretty bad. Make sure we stay low and make our passes here. Be heads up.
So you heard him say a little bit edgy kind of towards the oversteer, but the marbles is the bigger concern. You see Malukas running the low line in the black pavement. That's going to be the tricky challenge as the leaders work through the slower traffic. The bottom hasn't been the preferred line, so the lap cars are going to run the high lane. You got to be able to move around, though.
How about the car ahead of Malukas, Linus Lundqvist, coming off his second podium. That was on the short oval at Worldwide Technology Raceway a few weeks ago. He's running second right now, and he's keeping pace with McLaughlin.
And listen, midway through the season, a lot of questions about Lundqvist in terms of getting another opportunity to stay in IndyCar. Well, he's giving Chip Ganassi Racing, and frankly, this whole paddock, plenty of reasons to consider the rookie Swede, because he just keeps delivering. I mean, listen, to have a podium your rookie year, super impressive. 2, pretty rare, and now he might be making a move for the lead of this race.
He's thinking about it. Scott McLaughlin all boxed in by Pietro Fittipaldi. He finally clears him now. Both drivers do, though. The 5-hour energy machine just falling backwards. Now a lap down to the leaders, and it's going to be hard to recover from this that early in the race. A tenth of the way through the race and already falling a lap down.
It's been a rough weekend for Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan. 3 of the bottom 4 in the race right now, so more traffic coming up with those cars.
And they just haven't been able to find grip. The 3 of them all saying the same thing. Front end, back end, no grip, sliding around, and that really starts to reveal itself right now. 28 laps in as Joseph Newgarden working the back of Marcus Ericsson for 9th.
Just being slow and methodical with these passes, taking care of those tires. But look how careful he's got to be on the throttle when he crosses the dirty air of Ericsson in front.
The last 3 Indy 500 winners right here. Ericsson might dispute one of them when he finished second in Newgarden's first win, but Newgarden's a 2-time winner as we ride the Delaware Life on board from Ericsson looking back. But this is nothing like the Indianapolis 500 or the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, other than the banking. Both are listed at about 9 degrees.
That's right. It's funny, it seems like a pretty banked corner at Indy when you're in oval, in Speedway spec. Here at the mile, you've got the full road course wings, the road course downforce, and it feels incredibly flat by comparison. Kind of a similar banking to what we saw in turns 3 and 4 at Gateway a few weeks ago.
Looking out the back of the Hy-Vee camera there, Christian Lundgaard is Scotty Mack. And the Team Penske number 3 start to try to put Lundgaard a lap down. And this battle with Ericsson getting closer, I think Ericsson might want to consider peeling down a little lower and making it a little harder. Joe Du's left with some beautiful, fresh Wisconsin air on his front wing. That's going to give him a chance to potentially get a run.
And with all these cars having to
there he goes. Look at Ericsson, just adjusted his line.
Yeah, but does that give Newgarden clean air on the preferred line? Maybe he can get that momentum going off the top. You got to be careful. It's so tough when you're in the position Marcus Ericsson's in, because essentially you're trying to drive and hang on to your car. You're looking at what's happening in front of you, trying to position accordingly, and then you're also got one eye on your mirrors looking at the car behind you, and you're almost trying to drive it at the same time, forcing him to go where you want him to go, not where he wants to be.
All the while, Ericsson trying to find clean air for himself as he gets closer to Felix Rosenqvist. Now we get a chance to see what Pato O'Ward can do on Colton Herta.
He's coming back after Herta got him a little while ago. The arrow on board shows us the line for Pato O'Ward. Is there a path forward?
I like that cross-up that he did in 1 and 2. Kind of started a bit higher than Herta, crossed the dirty air, ended up below him in clean air, but just could not get the drive off the corner.
Let's talk more about Pato O'Ward with Georgia.
Well, I talked to Pato before qualifying, and he said he feels like their qualifying car is going to be better than their race car. There were still some question marks on pace and balance, but it seems post-qualifying they figured it out just slightly a little bit.
Last weekend for Arrow McLaren was not super happy on the road course, the last of the season, but they've been better on these types of courses and come in with some confidence. This is Herta in the yellow and black Cambridge car dealing with lap traffic.
And this is what's so cool about Milwaukee. 10 laps ago, we talked about how strong Colton Herta looks. Now, all of a sudden, Colton looks to be struggling at this point in the stint. This is only lap 35. Kevin, if it's going to be a 3-stopper for these guys, they have to get to about lap 64. The 4-stoppers, lap 50. So long way to go. And the evolution of balance, the evolution of degradation is fascinating to watch it all play out.
And what's so funny, Townsend, is to make the number, to make it a 3-stop, it almost happens naturally as the tires degrade. You see Pato now clearing the 45 of Lundgaard to continue the lap downfall for this guy here. But yeah, you don't have to consciously save as a driver. The grip goes away so much that
all you're doing is trying to save yourself mid-corner. Let's face it, you're off throttle.
You're driving as fast as you can. You know, you're hustling it, but just the grip's not there. You can't use the fuel, but are you bleeding so much time that it's actually worth it to dive in the pits and try to make up a pit stop's worth of time on track?
Dylan, how's Grosjean doing so far tonight?
Well, he's gone backwards from the start. Started 9th, runs 13th right now. A little bit of miscommunication, it sounds like, about their plan early on. Listen.
What are we doing in mixed fuel saving? I can't pass a big pass for everyone. We're not fuel saving, mate. Yeah, we have map 3. Map 3 is not a fuel save this week. Then you sent me the wrong email.
That sounds like a call with an airline customer service or something. I mean, Grosjean, it's too early to start having a meltdown here. You're fine, just hang in there, settle into the balance. But, I mean, how they would have an email that wasn't discussed pre-race is a little bit strange.
This is where race teams can get a little too smart for their own good. Normally, as Newgarden here taking a look at Rosenquist, he is making ground on these drivers as these stints go on and the tires wear out. But normally, you know, you have switches, you have dials on the steering wheel, they'll have different engine maps in them, some for fuel saving, some for a variety of different things. You can either leave them consistent across the season so the driver knows roughly what's in each position, but teams monitor other teams' radios. And so to try to avoid having people knowing what map you're in or what kind of strategy you're on, they will rotate those positions on the wheel. And yeah, you'll have to get an updated document each week and know where it is. I never liked that. I always wanted just the same stuff. So if I lost radio communication, at least I had some idea. You didn't have to remember a different set of codes and numbers and colors every weekend. And right here, it seems to have had a bit of a miscommunication on the JHR side.
Again, they're doing fine. Grosjean's 13th, Connor Daly 15th. Long ways to go here. So I think it's important everybody stay calm, whether you're on the stand or in the cockpit. Settle in, figure out the balance. Most importantly today, what you have to do is get your race car to work, not how far can you go on a tank of fuel.
So that's one of the questions. How far can you go on a tank of fuel, and can you make the Firestones last long enough to use all of the fuel available? Let's look at our pit stop window prediction powered by NTT. You mentioned we're hearing 3 stops, we're hearing 4 stops. So this strategy would be for the 4-stopper, which is what most people think it's going to be. Even that's going to be a little bit tight if there's not a yellow at some point. So we could see our first stoppers anytime.
And Kevin, you said it, if there's a yellow. This is when we start to think there might be a yellow, and the reason for that is the tire deg. All of that spent Firestone rubber starting to build up, and where it catches a lot of people out is on the entrance to turn 1. Right when you peel your car into this corner, if you get your right front tire just 6 inches too high, it just starts to take off. And I'm talking right here where these guys peel off. There is a seam right now that is a go or go home seam in terms of where you turn in. If you get it wrong, your day likely over.
Likewise, if you turn in shallow and carry a bunch of speed, you get that mid-corner understeer that by the middle of the corner creeps you up a little bit higher than you want to be running, and your right front can just catch that marble groove and you're off.
The question is, well, why would you ever consider getting that high? Because you want that little bit of clean air to help yaw the car and get it to arc and come across the dirty air coming off the back of a car in front.
Look, the fact of the matter is the preferred lane, even by yourself right now, is that higher groove. It's going down low where the clean air is to try to make these passes.
And watching the Odyssey onboard here with Scott McLaughlin, I see a driver very respectful of that turn in. He's not even going to flirt with that marbled groove. He's just going to turn early, pick up clean air, and play the high percentages.
Let's look at where the championship is at this point. It was 54, the advantage for Alex Palou coming into the day with 3 races to go. 54, by the way, is the most that can be scored in a single weekend as they run, with Power right now in 6th and Palou in 14th. A little bit closer. Also, I think of interest, Scott McLaughlin and Colton Herta. We knew they weren't out of it. It's going to be tough, but you're not out of it. You're within a race, and a lot can happen. And here comes Linus Lundqvist taking a look at Scott McLaughlin, who has lap traffic in front of him. That's Kiffin Simpson in front, trying to stay on the lead lap, and Lundqvist is trying to take advantage and pounce.
And Lundqvist just lunged into the jet wash of the Thirsty Threes there. You saw his car wash up the track, and he had to check up big time, but he's gathered it back up, and he's got a big run coming out of 4.
If he can cut down low here, that clean air, the acceleration off the corner for the Honda, the number 8, Linus Lundqvist down low, trying to make it stick here. He's got the clean air, and look, all boxed in is McLaughlin from Kiffin Simpson, and there is a pass for the lead.
And that's his teammate with Ganassi in front. Kiffin Simpson trying to stay on the lead lap. McLaughlin looking to fight back, can't do it right here. Rookie Linus Lundqvist is leading at Milwaukee.
And he did it honestly, guys. He drove up to and around the Penske. I'm not sure what Scott wants him to tell that guy. I'm assuming that guy is Linus Lundqvist.
Or is it Kiffin Simpson?
Maybe. But you're right, there could be some team games here now. You've got the leader who's trying to put his teammate a lap down. There might be a little more give and take between the 4 and the 8 than there was with the 3 when McLaughlin was there.
And I don't think Lundqvist should try too hard here to get around his teammate Kiffin Simpson. He's got the position, just manage that bubble of clean air that you can find and protect your tires. It looks like they're going to go for the 3-stopper. Now Kiffin Simpson moves out of the way. Let's take a look, guys, at this very impressive bit of racecraft from rookie Lundqvist here.
And as it's happening, guys, he does not show that same courtesy to McLaughlin. But look how close these two are. I think there's slight contact there. So maybe McLaughlin not happy with how Linus was coming up the racetrack. But that was good hard racing right there.
He established himself down low to the inside. He knew McLaughlin's in the dirty air of Kiffin Simpson. Here's the problem is, I think Lundqvist starts to pick up a little bit of Simpson's dirty air. His car is going to start to wash up. And they just touched that Hitachi front wing end fence, just scrubbing the right rear of Lundqvist.
And by the way,
inside,
Simpson
there, corner.
had no requirement to get out of the way. He's on the lead lap. So it is very much within his right, and it would be expected for him to continue to race.
Little surprised, James, that nobody is on pit lane yet that might be a dumpster diver to gamble by diving in early. They're in range now to make it a 4-stopper if you want to gamble.
Careful there. That's the other thing. We've talked about the key here is getting through that lap traffic. Lundqvist just looks so much more comfortable putting the car wherever he wants. He can run low, he can run high. He just seems to have a little bit more grip at this stage, 50-plus laps on these tires.
Okay, I wanted to hear again what Scott McLaughlin said, so we've re-racked that. Let's listen to that communication again from the 3.
Oh, okay. Just keep racing here. We're fine. Down in front. Okay, copy. We'll get it to you.
That's a different message.
Front, like
they need front
wing on the next pit stop. So lap 55, and James, here's another replay.
Well, look, he may have been a little bit upset with what happened here with Linus Lundqvist, but I think more so what happens next is more infuriating. On the next lap, actually, it's when Kiffin Simpson let his teammate go by, stayed low, made it look like McLaughlin was going to be given the high line to go around as well, and then just drifted right up the racetrack in front of him, killed the momentum of McLaughlin, and that's helped allow Linus Lundqvist to just pull out that lead and put a few more lap cars in between them.
Hey man, it's football season. Let the blocks fly.
I told you the Packers used to play her at one point.
Inspired was Kiffin Simpson.
Well, this is a nice little cushion for Linus Lundqvist, who has led in the last 3 oval races. The second race at Iowa, at Gateway, Worldwide Technology Raceway, but those were off sequence. It was not the same today. He has raced to the front.
The fact that nobody has pit tells me. Everyone's trying to make that fuel number. They're trying to make it in 3.
Nolan Siegel did just pit, and all of a sudden he is carving through the field. This could give inspiration for others to dive now and try to do this 4-stopper on pace. Look at Siegel chewing everybody up on fresh tires.
Yeah, that was just McLaughlin that he drove around, and then Kiffin Simpson. So he's got mad pace, but he really needs somebody else. We need other people to do this, to try to get these leaders, Dylan, to come to pit lane and try to spice this up a little bit.
Well, and I think it's going to be interesting. Everybody seemed like they wanted to wait and see who was going to be the first to commit or try this 4-stop strategy and see just how much better it may or may not be. So all of these teams up and down pit road are going to be watching Nolan Siegel and seeing kind of what he does and how he carves through the field. I've heard about lap maybe 70 or 75 for some of these teams before they'll make their first pit stop. The pace has slowed down so much that that's now an option, as you see Siegel get one of his laps back driving by Linus Lundqvist there. So it's on a 3-stop plan now for a lot of these guys.
And Kevin, to make it work, Nolan Siegel knows you've got to go fast. The 4-stopper is all about speed on the racetrack as Romain Grosjean ducks in right now.
And the fear for those that are stopping here, they need it to stay green. The yellow comes out, they're in big trouble, and they are off that lead lap.
Yeah, it's about 33 seconds you lose to do a pit stop here at Milwaukee. It is a 2-stage pit speed limiter on the way out. Right there, you hit the button once to get from 45 up to 80. Then on the exit of turn 2, 80 onwards, as we see the 7 of Rossi come into pit lane as well. And if you're more than 13 seconds roughly behind the leader, you're actually going to go 2 laps down. So that's something to consider when you're making these stops under green flag conditions.
But the fresh Firestones are creating pace. About a second better Siegel has been than the leader, about 7 or 8 miles per hour.
Just enormous amount of pace difference.
Otto Award coming to pit lane here. Saw Rossi and Siegel, his 2 teammates, have already pitted.
Again, it's not a question of fuel, because you're just trying to survive to the lap you need, as our championship leader, Dylan, has come to pit lane.
And this is sort of opening the floodgates as a bunch of cars are coming in. Alex Palou, who's been mired at about the 14th position for most of this race, has not been happy with the handling of his race car. Said that there was understeer early, was just trying to take care of the rear tires, and then he really started complaining about the right rear burning off later in that run. They'll change 4 tires at Shell Fuel for Palou, and he's back out.
How do you like that for Palou and Kirkwood? Green flag stop, 6.6 seconds for tires and fuel as Lundqvist stays out.
I just really think part of the reason these stops are so quick is it's not a full tank of fuel going in. They haven't burned a full tank of fuel because they're not going fast enough to use it all. So this is really putting a lot of pressure on the pit crews to execute these tire changes as quickly as possible, even more so than on a normal race condition.
Remember how Will Power won the second race at Iowa is because he stayed out longer than everybody else. He's one of those that has not stopped yet.
Check out this close qual for Linus Lundqvist as Stingray Robb makes a very late move for pit lane, and this is Nolan Siegel getting high in the marbles.
Keeping it off the wall, though. Those fresh Firestones just having enough grip at that stage. But right now, with Lundqvist still out there, everybody from 9th place down is at least 1 lap down right now. So that's why we talk about a yellow at this stage would be devastation for anybody that's pit, in the sense that they're trapped there until the wave around. Now the leaders would come in, as we see one of the leaders coming in, Scott McLaughlin. Odyssey batteries on that car. George, East to you.
Yeah, Scott McLaughlin coming in on lap 65. They went for a slight tire pressure adjustment and a front wing adjustment. Tires and Shell Fuel going in. He's down and away.
He matches Alex Palou's 6.6 as other cars also come to pit lane, and this is where it's so tough, that 2-stage limiter, and then the moment you get off the button, it can get really squirrely on cold tires out of the pits with all the bumps. As we hear, Linus Lundqvist might be boxing along with Joseph Newgarden.
Cars making their way onto pit road. Joseph Newgarden at the bottom of the screen will hit his marks. Has been fairly happy with his race car. Doesn't look like any major changes on the 2. Here's the race leader, Linus Lundqvist, in. They asked him, do you want any changes? He said no front wing, but they were slow on the right rear. That'll cost the 8 some time.
We're okay. Don't speed. Don't speed.
Will Power second in the championship. Stays out the longest of the leaders. He's in.
And he is loose. That's been his most recent report to Ron Rzuski on the strategy stand there. They'll change 4 tires. You see the couple twists of front wing for Power. Hopefully that helps him. 6.6 second stop for the best team statistically this year.
Okay, so Lundqvist out of the pits, and Scott McLaughlin has retaken the point there, just getting by.
It's such a double-edged sword. It's such a tough decision for these strategists. If you stay out longer, you are going to lose time to the cars that pit earlier and come out on fresh tires. That's the disadvantage. The advantage is if, and it's a big if, that yellow comes out, you essentially get a free stop.
So those that came in earlier, the undercut as we call it, works. So Pato O'Ward is leading Colton Herta. Marcus Armstrong has not stopped yet. So Armstrong is the only one who has not stopped, so he's going to cycle back. McLaughlin did jump Lundqvist. And here's McLaughlin going around Armstrong on the older Firestones. Lundqvist will come with him, so we should see Armstrong come in just a moment. We'll see how that helps him move forward. He was quick. By the way, Armstrong is going to start third in race 2 tomorrow, but he's one of those that had an engine penalty that start further back.
I don't understand why Armstrong and his team would hang out this long. These guys, the top 4 cars have all made a 33-second pit stop and still come out and been able to pass Marcus Armstrong. So you're not going to do this thing, I don't think, on 2 stops. Unless they're really rolling the dice. You'd have to go to lap 85, but I just don't think that plays out.
Even a yellow at this point doesn't really help because there's 21 cars on the lead lap, so when he did come into pit, he fell all the way to the back of that line. So I'm with you, T-Bell. I'm not sure what they're trying to cook up there in the 11th pit.
Not to mention, you put your young rookie, in terms of oval rookie experienced driver, Marcus Armstrong, in a position where he is just hanging on out there. It is desperate times as a driver. I think Newgarden almost got in the wall there, guys.
Definitely lost some momentum. Graham Rahal going around him there, just getting collected and composed. He's going to immediately try to fight back and get that track position back from Graham in the 15.
I might have jacked the toe of this thing.
Might have jacked the toe, so he probably got into the fence at the exit of turn 2. Question is it front toe or rear toe? Rear toe a lot more powerful on the oval.
I don't know, he looks to be going just fine right now. Let's take another look at what Newgarden's talking about.
Whoa.
Wow.
Oh, big save.
Big slide, big save, but a pretty square hit on the wall, and that's usually the kind of hit you can get away with.
It's the right rear toe. So the question is, did it toe out or toe in? If it towed out, car's going to be really loose. If it towed in, it's going to lock down that rear end too much, and he'll be fighting understeer. Dylan, the driver, the number 11, Marcus Armstrong, looks to be hanging on.
Well, they are trying to do this in 2 stops. So, as you guys said, about lap 85, I think that math tracks and would make sense. So, I don't think they wanted to fall down this far, but that's their plan. So, they got to do something different. Knew they were going to, starting where they did. So, see what happens here for Armstrong.
This is danger zone stuff, because if a faster car packs him high, he's going to really have a hard time keeping it out of the fence.
So Pato O'Ward has shifted to the front of this race. We have limited commercial interruptions in this exclusive Peacock broadcast tonight with NBC Sports. You're watching NBC Sports coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. Hy-Vee, this racing season, help Hy-Vee reach their goal of 100 million meals by visiting Hy-Vee.com. And by Elf, the beauty company that stands with everyone. Every eye, lip, and face. We've had a lead change here at the Milwaukee Mile. Thanks for joining us, Kevin Lee, Townsend Bell, James Hinchcliffe, Georgia Henneberry, and Dylan Welch. Colton Herta is now in front, and here's how he got there on Pato O'Ward just moments ago.
All about the traffic. We've said it from the beginning of the show. Pato O'Ward trying to get around Rinus VeeKay, gets checked up a little bit in the middle of 1 and 2, and then Colton just firing it in. And that slow-moving Armstrong, before he came to pit lane, running up high, slows down Pato O'Ward, but on track, guys, we have a caution.
On the backstretch.
Looks like Catherine Legg off of 2. Still moving. I wonder if Joseph Newgard did.
You're all good.
It does look like it's crabbing, though.
Did you make contact at all, Cap?
I did not. I kept it off the road.
Wow. Huh. It looked like it was crabbing a
Copy
little
that.
bit.
Nice job.
Thought the right rear looked impacted, but clearly not, as Catherine says, no, everything's all right.
So this is...
If the car's okay. Car looks good, guys. You don't have to set up. Car looks okay.
Well, so she had just pitted on lap 65 as Kiffin Simpson. They're working on something. Is that the radio?
He's been there a while. He's 8 laps down now.
I don't know why I'm saying this. It's got an electronics feel to me.
Yes. Strong low voltage vibe.
Something not gone right there, but Catherine Legg trying to emulate what Joseph Newgarden did at Gateway, going for that spin and win. So here we are off of 2. Yeah, just get on the power. I mean, this is exactly what we saw happen to Newgarden. You're down low, you get on the power, and you got so much power in these Indy cars. When the grip's low like that, you can spin up the rear tires. Easy to do.
Sweepers are out, Kevin. They'll get this thing tricked out, cleaned up, and ready to go.
So we only have just a few breaks throughout the broadcast. So we will sneak one in here, and we'll go green again in a moment at the Milwaukee Mile.
And welcome back to the Hy-Vee Milwaukee Mile 250 Race 1. Pit stops are happening. Colton Herta, your race leader, one of those making that stop. He took tires, and when asked if he wanted any other changes, he said none. The car feels really good. Dylan.
Linus Lundqvist did come into his pit box. They told him just do whatever the leaders do. Been really happy with his race car. Scott McLaughlin stayed on the racetrack, so he'll cycle to the front of the field.
And I think I noticed Alex Palou in front of Will Power on the exit of pit road there.
I'll tell you what Alex Palou almost had was hitting a crew member as Will Power's right rear tire changer just almost got run over. It is so tight, especially in oval configuration. It's always dicey leaving your box, but man, there was not but a half an inch between Palou's left side tires and this guy's right rear tire changer, but they got out ahead.
Interesting move from McLaughlin to stay out on track. So he inherits the lead. Second is Stingray Robb, also elected to stay out. Last pit on lap 61. It was 65 for this guy here. So now about a 20-lap advantage to all the cars behind. That's a big tire advantage. Let's take a look at that stop again.
So they had to hold power, right, for traffic?
No, they were just holding until he came off the jack stand.
They weren't done with the stop?
Yeah, so
okay.
we still watch this. See the right rear tire changer? Watch him inch forward.
Whoa.
And,
wow.
Oh boy, the air hose is right there.
That was as close as you wanted to get. Pit lane, a treacherous place at the Milwaukee Mile.
It's this point in the season where the gamesmanship tends to percolate and creep into pit lane. Think back to Sonoma in 2013. Will Power, the Rising 12 team, and that outside rear tire changer, very casually carrying that rear, gets in the way of Scott Dixon. They go down like bowling pins. Luckily, no one injured, but fingers pointed both directions. Ganassi saying, hey, Penske did that intentionally. Penske saying, hey, that's the way we always do our pit stops. And right here, look at how far the right rear changer is. He starts to inch forward.
Yeah, you're right. He looks like he's pretty far away from the
far
tire.
away.
I don't think he would be interested in using his legs, though, as a chicane.
I know, but
that's why he started moving in as soon as the car was moving.
That looked dicey. Understand the pit stop from the 27 of Kyle Kirkwood is under for review as we take a look on board here.
On the 2, here we are, 3, 2, 1, in.
Oh.
Okay, whoa, stop, okay, we're okay, keep going.
Got into some of the crew members there. Looks like the fueler went down.
The fueler.
Amazing to still get the stop done as quickly as they did. Hats off to the 27 crew, staying calm. You heard the voice of Brian Herta there on the radio, talking everybody through it, keeping everyone calm. Hopefully everyone's all right down there.
So just resetting top 2 in the championship for a moment. Palou had gotten in front of Power even before that stop. So in the pit exchange, Palou was 10th, Power was 12th. Georgia, let's talk about the leader. Again, Scott McLaughlin.
Yeah, let's talk about the leader. Let's hear what he has to say about 3rd through 18th pitting, but they decided to stay out.
Yeah, I was a little confused. Okay. We're fine, Cam. Gosh, that was a lot. I'm sorry. It's way too complicated. I'm sorry about this. On me.
So it seems like McLaughlin might have been one of those takers that did want to come in, but ultimately he's still leading this race right now. We'll see how it shakes out.
We always like multiple strategies, and we've got it. Top 2 did not stop. It's McLaughlin and Stingray Robb of AJ Foyt Racing running 2nd.
There's a lot of uncertainty in the voice of Scott McLaughlin, as I'm sure he feels like Colton Herta is going to be really tough to hold off on this restart.
So everybody's on a 2-stopper along with us. We just split ours a little bit different than theirs.
It doesn't change how many
We need to go as
stops.
hard as we want. We'll go to the tires go, and then we'll decide to open air on our exchanges and keep this lead.
And honestly, it could actually work out to his advantage. He's going to have to stop earlier, and that undercut was so powerful in that first round of stops. It gave Colton Herta and Pato O'Ward so much track position. It might inadvertently actually work out kind of well.
Thank you for joining us on NBC Sports coverage on Peacock of IndyCar. This evening brought to you by Big Machine Music City Grand Prix, September 14th and 15th. Tickets are on sale now for the season finale. NTT, official sponsor and technology partner of the NTT IndyCar Series. And by Hy-Vee, this racing season, help Hy-Vee reach their goal of 100 million meals by visiting Hy-Vee.com. We've had our first caution, a little bit of a reset. We've had some lead changes. Scott McLaughlin from pole got the jump. Linus Lundqvist in traffic got by him. McLaughlin is back in front now, but he did not stop with the others. And it's great to see not only racing at the Milwaukee Mile, but you know it's a process. The hope is if you build it, they will come, but it takes a little while to get the word out. So for year 1, the crowd looks good. We've got another one coming up tomorrow. Next year, it's a week earlier. So already make plans for 2025 to join us at the Milwaukee Mile for a single race.
Flag, green flag.
All right, time to go again. Scott McLaughlin in front, Stingray Robb in 2nd. Then we'll keep an eye on Herta, O'Ward, Rossi, and some fast cars coming.
Down there.
It's Marcus Armstrong trying to unlap himself. He got unlucky with that yellow. Perfectly clean racetrack, though, by virtue of the sweepers, James, and they're stacking wide.
We saw some big moves on the initial start. Connor Daly, one of them. You see Grosjean there looking to the inside, not quite close enough to make it happen. Look at that, Ferrucci all the way up in lane 3. He's going to chew up Rossi here.
Championship leader Alex Palou went high, now low, a little further up. It's Rossi and Ferrucci side by side. Ferrucci going to try to send it around the outside, and he will.
The Phoenix is rising through the field there as Colton Herta looks to make a move on Marcus Armstrong.
That momentum that Pato has coming off of 4, going to be easy to pull alongside Herta, but is it going to be easy to complete the pass down there on the inside? No. Herta rolling the throttle in deep, coming back down, taking the air off of Pato's front wing and pulling away.
Impressive how quick McLaughlin is despite a 20-lap deficit on tire life.
But it's just clean air right now for McLaughlin. As soon as they catch traffic, Herta's going to have a huge advantage, but right now Herta's got to clear the 11 of Marcus Armstrong as we see Rosenquist there battling with Siegel.
22 cars on the lead lap right now. The PNC on board with Dixon looking ahead.
Dixon having to check up huge in the middle of 1 and 2. Newgarden had to adjust his line for the traffic in front.
And remember, Newgarden thought his car was damaged, but he's still out there. Running in 16th right now. He'll be starting on pole tomorrow afternoon.
He'll like that view a lot better than what he's got right now, running in the 16th spot. trying to make up some ground. This long line of cars being held up by Stingray Robb at the front there. Remember, Robb, one of those drivers along with McLaughlin who didn't pit on that last yellow with old tires and big air takeaway for Newgarden off of 4.
Rosenquist pulling inside of Nolan Siegel there, exiting turn 4. Newgarden trying to find clean air. A lot of crisscrossing going on as everybody working this nice wide Milwaukee racetrack, trying to make their front wing as efficient as possible.
By the way, Kyle Kirkwood did get a drive-through for hitting personnel. Dylan, let's talk about Joseph Newgarden. I'm wondering how that car is. He's still certainly being aggressive.
He's been pretty happy with the race car, but they are now buried in traffic, running 16th. But he and Tim Cindric are often masters of strategy. This was their conversation under yellow.
Well, I'm just saying right now, with it being this far in the race, most of these guys are going to make it on, I would say, 2 more stops or 1 more stop.
Yeah, I think you can beat it the other way, do you guys not think so?
We'll see how it sorts out here.
So one thing he can do in traffic like this, even though he is racing cars and Stingray Robb loses another spot, is try to save fuel. So the one thing that Cindric always emphasizes, it's all just about finding as much clean track as you can. That will dictate their strategy and ultimately what they do. Harder to find on an oval, obviously, than a road course, but that's at the forefront of their strategy focus every single weekend. So we'll see how it shakes out here for Newgarden.
It sounded like Newgarden was suggesting we can beat those guys going the other way, meaning which is go fast, pit more often, break up into those 50-lap stints or maybe even fewer and just take advantage of raw speed and racecraft. It looks like Newgarden's comfortable to pull that off. His team will be running the numbers as Stingray kind of hanging on here in this stint.
He restarted in 2nd and has dropped back to 17th.
McLaughlin, meanwhile, has already caught the back almost of the field. He's about 1.5 seconds a lap faster than Christian Rasmussen, Christian Lundgaard.
Well, the next car in line, I believe, on track that McLaughlin will have to navigate is Kyffin Simpson, who he wasn't able to get around when he was leading at the start of the race. That was the car that Linus Lundqvist used as a pick to take the lead. Can Herta do the same thing with those 20-lap newer tires once they catch the back of the field?
Now, command blue flag, meaning the pull-over flag will go to Kyffin Simpson because he's 9 laps down after what appeared to be some electrical issues. If you remember, he was sitting in pit lane. So race control should make it a lot easier on the leader when he comes up.
Both Grosjean and Ericsson have been racing against each other across multiple continents for a few years. They're together right here, running in 8th and 9th.
You know, it's so disappointing for Marcus Armstrong because, as you say, Townsend, earlier, he was 2 laps down because of that going long strategy. But right now, on track, he's running right behind the leader, McLaughlin, and absolutely keeping pace with him. Scott can't get away from Marcus. Their lap times are almost identical, so the pace is in the number 11. He's just been trapped 2 laps down because of a strategy faux pas.
Well, maybe they felt it would have worked out if it had stayed green, but I think that's a low probability bet at a place like Milwaukee, as tricky as the handling is deep into the stint and as dirty as the track gets offline. And I should correct myself that on the ovals, no command blue flag, even though you're 9 laps down. So that's just for the road and street circuits. But McLaughlin,
now that said,
should probably be quick enough, but we'll see.
When you're 9 laps down, you probably want to be sporting because others remember if you are a little bit too difficult to get around at that point. Kind of comes around, goes around.
These two battling hard. They've already passed each other back and forth a few times this race, but just behind them, guys, Santino Ferrucci running up in the top 5. He's on the same strategy. He pit on the same lap, 87, as the cars around him.
And he's on probably the same setup as leader Scott McLaughlin because of that Penske AJ Foyt technical partnership as Pato O'Ward has a run on Herta.
He's got a wing on here right there.
And remember, this is a different strategy than McLaughlin. They can go longer. McLaughlin is going to need to pit much sooner. So on this strategy, this is effectively for the lead. Herta is still in championship play. Pato O'Ward is thinking wins.
As they run right now, speaking points, Colton Herta does jump up a position. P2 in the championship, 52 behind Palou. If the checkered were to fall right now, you see Herta there in second, Palou down in seventh.
And Kev, even though they're separated by about 20 laps on tire life, I do think they're still all on the same strategy with McLaughlin. It's just that Herta and O'Ward have fresher tires for this stint. McLaughlin will have more laps by the end of the stint, but I think it's still 2 pit stops to the finish for these guys.
And that was him, I think. Oh no, sorry, somebody dove into the pits there. Was it? Oh, it was one of the Rahal cars, I apologize. Thought me, red and white car. Thought me.
Oh, Herta checked up big time. This will give O'Ward a really good shot. Easy breezy.
O'Ward is going to use the traffic in front of Marcus Armstrong. Herta's not quite ready to give it up. O'Ward is through for seconds.
And this is what's tough. That car in front, 2 laps down. But because there is no command blue, absolutely no reason to give it up if you don't have to. Now he's going to race Pato O'Ward hard, and maybe Colton Herta can have the same situation where the 11 checks up the 5 and gives him a run.
Absolutely. Here comes Colton down the back straight.
Colton just got to be patient here. Just pick whatever lane that Pato doesn't. As you see the sun starting to set now, that becomes a bit of an issue late in this race.
Especially because of that invisible line between dirty racetrack and clean racetrack. It gets a little harder to hit your marks.
And look, we're not even at half distance yet, so that's going to keep falling. That's going to keep getting worse and worse. Driver's vision massively going to be affected by the sun setting there off of 4.
Wonder how many of the field thought about that and are running the tinted tear-offs, as Pato O'Ward now has a really good run on Marcus Armstrong, and if he can get by, then he can go to work on McLaughlin. But Armstrong had a really good exit off 4.
Quick in a straight line is Armstrong right now.
Well, remember, he qualified well. He's going to start 3rd in the second half of the doubleheader tomorrow. He started 16th because of an engine penalty. He's qualified 9th with his first lap in qualifying.
Cambridge on board. Look at that sun just piercing through as Pato tries to get the run now side by side with Armstrong.
That was Rob Edwards talking to Colton Herta, saying the fellow Honda is likely going to help you coming ahead. A little harder for the Chevy to get through, but O'Ward is by, and it will not take as long for Herta. Yes.
See, Armstrong really didn't want to get up into the gray there on corner entry. Everybody very nervous as O'Ward is making the move.
Side by side, Pato O'Ward has moved in front of Scott McLaughlin to take the lead in Milwaukee.
4 car in front of you.
And
laps down.
That is what a 20-lap tire advantage looks like on the racetrack. You've got McLaughlin now last pit on lap 65, so he's coming very close to the end of this stint. He's going to be coming in quickly. And when he does, and he comes back out as Herta now trying to get the position as well, he's going to be on that fresh rubber making moves, and it's going to work out for him as long as there is no yellow before people like O'Ward, Herta, Ferrucci, and Rossi pit.
And he wants to get through quickly to stay in touch with Pato O'Ward, who is speeding away a little bit.
McLaughlin's got to do about another 10 laps before he can make his second pit stop here. So this is where it's a little desperate. Just got to kind of hang on, consolidate your car, your balance, and just try to manage the downside. Don't get up into the marbles. Don't push too hard and make a mistake and lose more positions than you need to. You're unlikely to be able to hold off Colton Herta. Just got to stay on the clean part of the racetrack here and get to the next stop.
McLaughlin is settled in, holding into that position right now. How much further back is Ferrucci in 4th? He's a couple of seconds and has more traffic to deal with. Herta now trying to use the low side. If you didn't join us for the first Peacock practice session, normally oval weekends include a high line practice, but here it was a low line practice. It was the off line because that was the less preferred line.
And Colton Herta doing a great job practicing the low line technique, especially here, James. Watch him come into turn 3, how low he gets. He's almost trimming the grass.
Here he comes.
He's there, corner, door.
just rolling that mid-corner, but McLaughlin able to get to the throttle just a tiny bit sooner, gets that drive off. He's still driving in the dirty air of Kiffin Simpson in front.
Well, that's the car in front that McLaughlin lost when he lost the lead the first time through Linus Lundqvist. Herta trying again, but not close enough. Now he's side by side, and the lap car is going to be on the high line.
That's just it. Now McLaughlin's driving in that dirty air. Every time he gets a little bit closer to Simpson, it's making it a little bit harder for him to keep that momentum up on the high line.
Good, clean, hard racing. Tricky stuff here. Look at the wash Colton Herta gets in the dirty air.
You are dancing these cars. Graham's got fresher tires. He's a lap down, 3 laps down actually at this point already, so no point fighting him. If I'm Colton, I'm just going to let the Hendrickson car go, try to create a hole as he goes around McLaughlin and follow him through.
Rahal pitted just 11 laps ago.
This is where, as a driver, you feel like Superman here on the fresh tires, tons of grip. Doesn't last long though, so you got to get it working early as the Hendrickson on board gives us a great view here. And I think Graham Rahal should be able to make the pass on McLaughlin here. Nice run off of 4.
Would have expected him to hit the hybrid there for that little extra boost. It's another one of the tools that the drivers can use.
Might have been ineligible at that point. They have a limited amount of energy per lap. And even if you have the charge available, there's a kilojoule limit. I think it's 150 here this weekend.
135, I believe.
I'll give you that.
But he could have used it after the start-finish line.
Amen.
Just past halfway at the Milwaukee Mile, the first of 2 this weekend for the Hy-Vee Milwaukee Mile 250. Scott McLaughlin, you ride his Odyssey battery on board. He is one of the 4 leaders, started on pole. Paddle Award now has led 19 laps, the same that Linus Lundqvist did. And Colton Herta has led 9 laps. He runs in 3rd right now, and right behind them, a battle for 4th. Santino Ferrucci in the orange and black car again this weekend. The Phoenix Investors AJ Foyt car is having another strong race.
So at this point, lap 129, McLaughlin in range to make it on 2 more stops. He can come to pit lane anytime, but he doesn't want to do what Armstrong did, which is pit early and go 2 laps down. So Armstrong went long and the yellow came out, but if you pit early and get a yellow, you can also get a lap down. Georgia, what can you tell us about the Gainbridge driver?
Well, I know that Colton Herta wants to know what's the next move. Let's hear some radio between him and Rob Edwards.
I don't understand. Are we trying to do this in 1 more stop? We're trying to keep the option open.
So that's Rob basically saying that they're not quite sure yet. Obviously, this depends on yellows, it depends on fuel, it depends on tires, but they're trying to keep that option open to just go 1 more stop with 121 to go.
Let's see what happened to his teammate, Marcus Ericsson, in the 28. Had a moment a couple laps ago. High in turn 4. Whew. Ice skating his way outside of the wall. I think, guys, as we get another look at it here with Marcus Ericsson, I think this race has already shown that running long is not the way to go. You want to stay on fresh tires. These guys can all make it on 2 more stops. I think even McLaughlin, I think I'd start pitting right now, put fresh rubber on, and even for Award or Herta, you don't really need to stretch it too far now. You're in range.
Okay, it's going a bit higher.
The problem is it worked so well for Will Power at Iowa race 2, but it really takes that perfectly timed yellow as the first of the, I don't want to say leaders, he was running in the teens, but...
This is what Newgarden suggested, though, to Tim Cindric. Hey, I think we should do the opposite. Dylan, they're coming to you. They're taking those fresh tires. They're going to try to do it on pace.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So there was a little bit of debate, but ultimately this is what they decided. Newgarden got stuck in traffic. Those are his words. So they're going to try to do something different just to try to find as much clean track as possible.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, this is a race that's run pretty clean so far. Yes, there's always a threat of a yellow, as now we see Ericsson dive to pit lane on the same program. But these drivers with these fresh tires now, they're going to start making crazy headway on the leaders. I am surprised McLaughlin, of all people, hasn't come in yet. I think maybe he's trying to do it.
He certainly deserves to come in.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done a great job to get this far as the Odyssey battery on board and McLaughlin. Let's just watch it ride for a lap. How bad is it?
He's got to be gentle on all.
He's doing 27-second laps, James. I mean, come to pit lane. Do what Newgarden does.
Don't yell at me.
What are we doing?
I'm with you on this one. I mean, 25.8 was Pato O'Ward up in the lead, 27 flat. So losing over a second to the 5 car right now, a lap. I'm with you. If you came in pit right now, it would be the other way around. You'd be making a second a lap up. Dylan.
While Grosjean is in, he made his very first stop a couple laps earlier than some of the cars in front of them. Undercut, got them a couple spots back, and then they cycled back onto sequence with everybody else. Shell fuel and 4 tires for Grosjean.
A long stop there on Grosjean. Looks like maybe
I thought I saw
a wheel nut. Yeah.
Go underneath Grosjean's car. Is that maybe from another car? As Will Power, Alex Palou, championship leaders. They'll battle out on pit lane.
They're going to be right there on top of each other again. Palou was a little bit free on that run, has been battling both ends of the handling spectrum. We'll watch and see the exit for Palou if it's a little smoother. The 12 guys try to get out of the way, but Palou's still able to beat him out of pit road.
I'll tell you, that right rear tire changer for Will Power is really flirting with Alex Palou's car. He gave a little giddy-up move to get out of the way, but it is close, stop after stop.
Yeah, there's all's fair in love and racing when you're going for a championship. Your 2 contenders right now hitting on the same lap.
And Santino Ferrucci got by Colton Herta, and now he's past Scott McLaughlin. AJ Foyt's driver is running second on a short oval as we watch this stop again between the 2 championship leaders coming into the weekend.
Watch Adam Jarvis there, the right rear changer. Man, this is close, but he is way off the right rear. Whoop.
So O'Ward in front by 13 seconds. McLaughlin dropped a position, and now he's going to make his second stop, Georgia.
Scott McLaughlin coming to pit lane for the first time since lap 65. He brings the 3 to the attention of his crew. They have the fresh tires on the wall. They go for it. They also plug in the shell fuel. He said he was a little loose. The team told him, Scott, you're not losing anything. You're not gaining anything. You're down and away.
Problems for the 8 crew. Looks like on the right rear they had an issue, had to bring the car back up in the air. So 11.2 seconds. Brutal stop for Linus Lundqvist. 5 seconds lost.
Let's see what happens here. Well, this is again after the stop is complete. Looks like maybe a clip of the air hose there, but watch during the stop. Look at how far away from the right rear tire that the Powers guy is. And as he's walking back, he really takes a wide loop there. Anyways, it's subtle, but we've seen these games in the past through the years, especially with the championship on the line. Colton Herta, Georgia, coming to you.
Herta coming in for his 3rd stop of the day. Fresh tires are going on the game bridge. They're also putting that shell fuel right, and he's happy with the car as he has been all day.
So this is a nice undercut move from the 26 crew. You got to think the 3 just came in, and now one of the other leaders, Santino Ferrucci, who'd made his way up to second, was the fastest car on the racetrack the last 2 laps. He's now down to pit lane. All these drivers being kind of goaded into coming in and get these pit stops done early, Dylan.
He'll have that first pit box, so clean entry and clean exit for Ferrucci, courtesy of last week's pole. Just asked for a half turn of front wing. Been really happy with the balance, even in traffic. 6.5 second stop. Good one for the Foyt boys.
Great stop for the 14 crew.
So this round of stops is done. Let's see how this all settles in now.
They'll all need one more stop to get to the end. Pato O'Ward comes to the end of pit speed there. Oh boy, big wheel spin. He's hanging on to it.
And we're looking for Joseph Newgarden on the racetrack. Newgarden still at start-finish, so he's going to come out in the lead. Newgarden in the middle of 1 and 2. Just keep an eye for the blue and white car. There he is. It's a full back straight lead right now, but guys, Newgarden is up to P2. Didn't he pit from like 15?
And remember what he told Tim Cindric, let's do it on pace.
I like it.
Let's undercut and go fast.
That really forced all of the other leaders to do it. I mean, you think they had a 20-lap advantage on McLaughlin, but Colton Herta, for example, only pit 2 laps later. And as we see right now, after that round of stops shakes out, Palou, 56 points over Powers. It gets tight. Rossi and Rosenquist coming off a 2. Mission on board showing some very tight action. Just a near miss there for Rossi. He's going to try to line him up off a 4.
So we're back now on pretty similar strategies. Newgarden was the first of the front runners to pit last time on 131. Award, for example, pitted on 142. Everyone's somewhere in that range.
But it's interesting, Newgarden, by far the earliest, did that early stop. Ericsson 1 lap later, he's jumped up to P3, so the undercut was strong, but Award, the last one to pit, did the overcut, and he made that work because he had a little bit of a buffer over McLaughlin by the time that pit cycle started. So it really is not as easy as it's an overcut race, it's an undercut race. You have to read the situation you're in.
Well, certainly you can go quicker with the fresh Firestones at the beginning of the stint, but may you pay the price later on. And we have seen, once again, second straight oval race where there's been some concern about will there be overtaking? Yes, there will be.
So look at the big losers in this. You've got McLaughlin.
Side by side, Ericsson and Newgarden come together, and both are in the wall.
Both drivers had benefited so much.
You can't do that. That's not okay.
From that cycle, running second and third on the racetrack. Podium positions for both. Terminal damage.
Turned down on us. He didn't give us any room there.
That sounds like conflicting stories. The first one.
Look at
He turned
Newgarden
straight into me. Yeah.
waving his index finger at Marcus Ericsson. These two drivers are having lots of sign language between each other as they face nose to nose, and the AMR safety team jumps right into action.
And again, these two drivers have won the last 3 Indianapolis 500s. They know what they're doing.
There's going to be a disagreement for sure.
Not according to each other.
Yeah. Both guys seem to be all right. Most important thing there, but bad run of luck for Ericsson continues. You know, he was running in a great position at Gateway before a mechanical issue. Had a solid race last time out in Portland, but he's had more rough days than bright ones so far in 2024. Look at this. Universal sign language of racing drivers.
Ericsson saying, "You came down on me." Newgarden said, "No, you moved up." At least that's the way I read it.
Well, let's see. So wheel to wheel, everybody knows where everybody is. I mean, Ericsson's on the second lane. He didn't really come up. Oh, look at Palou once again. Just manages to avoid the incident. He was sideways on the brakes trying to avoid the accident right in front of him. And once again, gets away with it. I got distracted from the actual accident. I was so impressed with Palou's save.
The force with which you hit me when you saw Palou miss that accident suggests you are hopeful for drama down the stretch, James. And these two poor guys, it's tough to place blame here, although I will say that Ericsson is on the inside and he had a full car width and a half to get to the yellow apron.
But yeah.
One back, little round here, looking inside.
So he's not fully side by side till there, and he's using that second lane. Oh man, it's a racing deal, but look, race control might put that on the 28 as the passing car. He did have more room to the left. Let's see this view.
Well, they can put it on the 28 all they want.
Still outside, just run him in, still outside, still there,
but they're both done for the day.
Second caution of the day. 2 of the contenders are out in the first half of the Hy-Vee Milwaukee Mile 250s. You're watching NBC Sports coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by 5 Hour Energy, proud partner energizing RLL Racing. 5 Hour Energy tastes great and fixes tired fast. NTT, official sponsor and technology partner of the NTT IndyCar Series. And by Hendrickson, a global manufacturer of innovative ride solutions and proud partner of RLL Racing. Under caution, past the midway point of the first half of the Hy-Vee Milwaukee Mile 250s, race 1. Tomorrow, race 2 here on Peacock and also on USA, starting at 2:30 Eastern Time. And 2 contenders, 2 Indianapolis 500 winners have come together. Marcus Ericsson and Joseph Newgarden, who were fighting for second, are out. Pato Award is the leader, and Alex Palou. How about that? The championship leader. Not sure that's just luck. I think it's good. He always is able to avoid calamity ahead of him. He runs in second. Will Power runs in third.
Keeping it as tight as possible. These guys have been kind of married to each other in lockstep the last few rounds.
So, James, there's 20 cars right now on the lead lap. When the pits are open, I think if I'm in the back 5 to 10, I might consider just throwing tires on it. I might get the positions back and then some on fresh rubber.
Look at the Verizon on board of Will Power, running in third, second in the championship as the points run at the moment. That's where he started today.
The other thing to consider in this, guys, though, is how many sets of tires do you have? We came into a doubleheader weekend with only 13 sets. If this turns into a 4-stop race today, that's 5 sets of tires. You need another 5 on hand just in case. At minimum for tomorrow, you've already used at least 2, sometimes 3 in practice, and 1 for qualifying. A few teams purposely saved a set in practice so that they had more options in the race. Georgia, what's happening with Scott McLaughlin?
Well, as we know, on ovals, traffic comes into play just a little bit more. Let's hear what Scott McLaughlin has to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, you got the fastest lap of the race by a bit. Adam, go a chat to the 4th spotter. Just say if he wants to make any friends in the future, don't drive like a
So tension's a little high coming from the 3 box right now.
And look, that's fair play. Kiffin's 11 laps down. I get he's out there trying to learn, but you also don't want to be the guy that's getting involved in the race for the win, the race for podiums and top 5s, when you're not even in the same race, essentially. It's important to get these laps, certainly, but at the same time, you are going to need favors from other drivers at some point in your career. You don't want to start making enemies now in your rookie season.
The contact between Ericsson and Newgarden has been reviewed. No action will be taken.
What action? You could do a penalty for next race.
For next race,
penalty for next race.
Hey, don't forget, you still have a chance to drive away with a new Corvette courtesy of Hy-Vee. There's 1 remaining. Enter for a chance to win. And grab your mobile device and scan the QR code on your screen to enter to win a Corvette, courtesy of Hy-Vee. Okay, who's going to go big this time? Connor Daly, Santino Ferrucci have been doing it often. Where does Connor run right now? He is 13th. Ferrucci is 5th. He was high as 2nd before the caution.
I like the odds with Ferrucci, man. I'm curious to see what happens here.
And the 2 leading the championship coming to the weekend are nose to tail. Alex Palou, Will Power. Colton Herta's not out of it. He's in 7th. Neither is Scott McLaughlin. He's running in 4th. Pato O'Ward is mathematically alive, but he's thinking win. Here we go again from the Milwaukee Mile. Good start from Pato O'Ward. Here goes Palou getting around some traffic.
Palou wastes no time. McLaughlin side by side with Ferrucci, though.
Will Power moved up in front of Ferrucci. Ferrucci had a great run of momentum, and now that's checked everybody up. Look at the teammate. Oh, no, that's VK on the inside of Grosjean.
Rinus VK is up to 6th. That's up 3 spots.
Up to 5th
on the
now.
Restart. He's up 8 since the start of the race. VK going forward.
Ferrucci, the big loser in that exchange, because he just got held up there. Had a great run on McLaughlin. Power took the air away, had to get out of it. And now Grosjean trying to get around the A.J. Foyt driver, but here comes Herta.
Herta goes to the low side. He is through, up to 8th.
Ferrucci up ahead. He's a car width and a half wider than anybody.
Ferrucci was up near Sheboygan there off turn 4.
He's looking at Alexander Rossi now. Ferrucci, side by side. It is tight. Rossi hangs on to the spot.
Rossi gave him just enough room and not an inch more. Ferrucci able to get out of the throttle, keep it together, but a big slide job. There's going to be contact.
They touch, they stay in it, and Ferrucci makes the move up to 6th.
That was his Chili Bowl experience coming full force, but now Rossi thinking about firing one back.
Oh man, Ferrucci's fun to watch in these moments. So aggressive and so creative with finding real estate where others just are not willing to go.
Dylan.
Santino Ferrucci told me this morning we might have to run that slide job line to try to manipulate the air, and especially on starts and restarts when the track is a little bit cleaner. So he knew that was going to be the mission from the start. Rossi was not very thrilled with that, as you can imagine, on the radio.
Here comes A.J. Foyt's driver, Ferrucci on the outside of Rinus VK. Side by side, Ferrucci makes another move. He's in the top 5.
Absolutely great stuff from Ferrucci. He knows the limits of spatial awareness that he's got going on right now. Absolutely top notch. And he's driven his way back up in the top 5. Going to take another swing now at McLaughlin.
Let's hear from Joseph Newgarden with Georgia.
Joseph Newgarden has been released from the IndyCar medical unit. What happened from inside of the car?
I tried to give Ericsson inside. I knew it would probably be hard for him to pass me on the inside, and then next thing I know, I was just being pulled to the wall is what it felt like. So I don't know. I need to. Yeah, it's kind of what it felt like. Yeah, it's a bummer. That's a bummer. You know, I think we were doing a good job switching up the strategy like we needed to. I think it was hard to make something happen just outright. So strategy was going to be really key, and I think the team was on it there. So I was happy driving the PPG car. Just unfortunate for Dan so soon.
Joseph Newgarden looking for a rebound tomorrow. Well, he starts on the pole.
But it will be with a rebuilt race car that he will not have a chance to really test.
I have a hard time putting any blame on Newgarden for that. I mean, Ericsson had so much track to the bottom that he could have used to give him a little bit more space. As we look out the back of Scott McLaughlin at the hard-charging Ferrucci, he wants that 4th position.
And McLaughlin's going to have to deal with lap traffic in front of him again. And that's always a key on a short oval. It's one thing to be fast, but you have to be able to navigate traffic.
And he was not able to do it there. Ferrucci now has a run, and he's going to make it stick on the inside as behind Rossi's trying to make the Highline work on VK.
And if I'm Scott McLaughlin, I'm watching Ferrucci right now saying, why do we give that guy our setup? He's making it work better than anyone right now.
And Rossi got that move done on the ECR driver in the green and black machine. Now his eyes are set on McLaughlin.
Pato O'Ward getting really close there to Lundgaard.
We saw a close one from Ferrucci as he tries to navigate traffic too. It's Rossi in the white and papaya orange McLaren car running in 6th. So we'll keep an eye on this. Meanwhile, let's hit the other side of the story between Newgarden and Ericsson. Marcus is with Georgia.
Yeah, and Marcus just told me he is okay, but let's get the other side of the story. Joseph said he felt like he left you a lane on the inside. Do you feel like that's the case?
No, I mean, I haven't seen it, but I felt like I was down the inside, obviously, and that Joseph just turned down on me. So, you know, it's slick out there, and I don't feel I can do much more, and he just keep turning into the corner. That's my feeling from inside my car. I don't feel I can go much lower than that. So, also, I'm having the momentum into the corner. He's getting overtaken, so I think, you know, the clever move there is to give the room. I did that move a few times earlier in the race. It was never a problem, and someone is doing it right now as well. So, yeah, I just felt like he should have given me more room there, and we would have been both fine and fighting for the win. So, very disappointed. I think the 28 car, Delaware Life car, was really, really good. So, yeah, really, really disappointing end.
Both sides of the story. Thanks, Marcus.
You see the lead group navigating traffic, getting through at this point. You see Ferrucci leading this pack and 4th. McLaughlin, Rossi, Herta all in the picture as they move past Pietro Fittipaldi in the MyJack Honda.
The top 3 have sort of checked out from this group here. Ferrucci at the point in 4th. Has this string of cars behind him.
So last stops can come at about lap 190, you know, 60 to go to the end. I think a lot of these guys will try to stretch it maybe a little bit, but as soon as they know they're really suffering on performance, they'll probably come in 4 tires before they need fuel.
And Pato O'Ward has a little bit of clean track for a moment.
But Pallou's doing a great job of keeping up with them. About 7/10 of a second has been a consistent gap. You know, part of that from Pallou's position might also just be take care of your tires. He might be able to run up to the gearbox of Pato O'Ward, but as long as he's mired in traffic like that, there's not a whole lot of points.
Such a typical Alex Palou day. If you look at the top 7, top 8, we've had whoa moments with everybody except Alex Palou. There's been aggressive moves for all those drivers, but Palou's just done his usual, very quiet and unspectacular performance, and it just always puts him right where he needs to be to protect or extend his championship lead.
Good day for the Juncos Hollinger racing cars. Grosjean and Daly were battling there. They didn't start the weekend very quick. They were slow in the first practice, but they've been getting better as they go. And we've seen Connor Daly go big on the starts and the restarts today. And for that car, they're also thinking points and the Leaders Circle program, entrant points, fighting the 20. Came in even with them for the last bonus program. And they're a bit ahead in the middle of this race with Rasmussen running in 17th. Down to 3/10 up front. Alex Palou is on the charge. And that clear traffic that Pato O'Ward had for a moment did not last long. And we're seeing a lot of Kiffin Simpson at the front of the leaders. Let's take a look at our last 3 lap speeds powered by NTT to look at O'Ward and Ferrucci.
And that's the clean air versus dirty air difference right there. Those leaders had opened up that bit of a gap. Like I said, the top 3 had pulled away from Ferrucci. Now they've caught that lap traffic at 14, able to start closing that gap. It's thrown about 7 seconds from the leader back to Santino in 4th.
Didn't take long for this guy to catch Palou. Will Power with a run to the high side. This has championship implications. Power needs to finish ahead of Palou.
Top 2 in the championship. Lap traffic involved here. That's Jack Harvey, who's already a lap down. Palou to the low side. Power's going to try to come with him.
Power's got to go with him this lap if he can. He doesn't want to lose touch with Palou. Not close enough to do it now.
Last week, Power said, I have to finish in front of Palou. To do that, Palou finished second. Power had to win the race. He did to keep his championship hopes alive. He would still be mathematically alive in this situation, but realistically, he needs to start to make up some ground.
Working the low line through turns 1 and 2 is Will Power. And now, how does Palou handle Stingray Rob? Look at the sun, look at the glare in the middle of 3 and 4. It's as bad as it's been all day.
You got to remember, with an aero screen now, you do have tear-offs that you can pull during a pit stop, but you can't obviously do it like you used to be able to just from the helmet tear-off. So you're waiting for a pit stop, you get rubber on there, the sun catches it, it can really affect the vision of every driver out there.
Hey, Dylan, Will Power's trying everything he can do to get by. He might have a chance right here.
And let's watch. I'm really interested to watch over the next couple of laps as Power gets a big shove of dirty air there. Who pits first last, or who pits last first, I should say. We saw the undercut work for Newgarden, and I'm just interested, especially amongst these top 2-3 cars, who blinks first. Think you can make it 65 laps to go, 60 to go, so we're coming up on that right now, and just will be interested to see who wants to roll the dice. And Power's talked about how they want to be on the offense. Is he the one that blinks first?
It'd be a good strategy. I like it.
Dylan, Will Power really carrying big momentum on the entry to turn 3. This is turn 2. See Palou's checked up a bit behind Stingray. Now Power goes to the high side. Now watch how much momentum he carries here on corner entry. Oh, he backs out early that time, but look at the flow.
On and off the throttle, trying to find where the grip is. Now Palou has a run on the 41 of Rob. Gets that done. Power will not be able to follow him through. O'Ward's pulled out over a 1.5 seconds.
Here comes Will Power. He should be able to clear the 41. See if he sends it. A little bit of a slide job here down the inside. He does. Slides up the track, and now a lot of clean air for both Palou and Power for the next few laps.
There's a long way to go in this race, but something significant could happen for the Arrow McLaren team. Sam Schmidt is still a partner in this team. They've been in IndyCar racing since 2001. A win for O'Ward today would be the first time that the team, combine all the drivers, have won 3 in a season. They've won 2 many times, going back to Simon Pagenaud. But that would be significant for this team as they continue to grow and everyone trying to break through on Penske and Ganassi's dominance for championships. They've won all of them, dating back to 2012 when Andretti won with Ryan Hunter-Reay. Top 3 all there, all nose to tail on track. Let's go back to Felix Rosenqvist. He is running in 12th as we see the AutoNation on board. Dylan, tell us more.
Well, you guys noted the sun and how difficult it looks like it is to see. This was Felix Rosenqvist's thoughts on that just a moment ago.
You can't see a thing in turn 4. It's super, super low sun.
Yeah, we copy that. Just hang in there. You're doing great.
77 complaining of undrivable. Clear by 10.
Wow. All right, final pit stops are underway, and some leaders are coming in. Dylan.
Alexander Rossi, the first one to pit last. That kind of makes sense. They tend to do that. Rossi's been fast, so we'll watch and see how this all cycles through. This is going to bring everybody down pit road with 65 to go. Alex Palou has laid out as well. Don't see movement from Will Power's pit in front of them, so they may have a clean exit as you see the 10 crew laying out. And here's Palou, who has been finally able to get back to the front of the field. They'll change Firestone tires and add Shell fuel, Georgia.
Colton Herta, another one to come to pit lane. It sounded like an expedited decision to bring him in, almost like a chain of events, but Colton Herta is going to take tires and fuel. That's going to bring him to the end.
And there's the leader. Pato O'Ward is making what should be his final stop. Never know, though, if there's a late caution. If anybody has fresh Firestones, would anyone in the lead group come in?
And the caution's out. The caution has come out.
A loose wheel for somebody. It's a front wheel and tire.
And Will Power
push hard.
had not stopped.
He's trying to race guys out of pit lane to the blend line. Who's that right beside him? Whose tire is it?
It's a sticker wheel and tire, so someone just finishing a pit stop, and
Oh,
it's the 26
no.
of Colton Herta again with another great chance for a strong oval result. If not his first oval win, he'll have to come in.
And likely his championship hopes are going away with this mishap. They were not super strong, but they were still available, coming in third in points. What happened?
Well, it'll be the left front. Comes off with ease. Goes on just fine. Up. He did one stab at it, realized it wasn't tight, and then went back for another, but the car had already dropped.
And you can see, I mean, the wheel was still attached. Sorry, the gun was still attached to the hub as Colton pulled away. That's a telltale sign that the tire changer did not get the nut as tight as they wanted. So
how many laps down? 3?
All right, Ferrucci's the last car on the lead lap, currently in 6th. Power, Daly, Lundqvist, O'Ward, Lundgaard, Ferrucci. Palou is a lap down critically here as we just take another look at the Colton Herta pit stop.
We're going to stay with the replay here, even though it's out the back. I'm guessing we'll see that left front depart.
Hey, Colton, you got to come in. No wheel nut in the inside front. No wheel nut inside front. Coast it round.
I think he knows that. That was Alex Rossi that went by, just barely missing the tire.
All good because Colton Herta shown as a lap down of the field, which is the same as Palou, McLaughlin, Rossi, everybody that pit. So once the top 6 come to pit lane for their final stop, I think Herta's going to end up still on the lead lap and on fresh tires, maybe with a little underfloor underbody damage, but with a chance to fight his way back into the mix.
But guys, this is going to put that top 6. They're going to essentially get a free stop here. They will come in. They will get to come out. No?
Pace car's on Will Power, so he'll come to the pit as Palou will unlap himself and get back onto the lead lap.
No, I know, but Will Power will come back out still in the lead. No, he will not.
Depending on if he beats these coming in. But, yeah, no worse than 6th.
Yes.
Yeah. So Connor Daly is going to be in the top 6. He's in the mix. Lundqvist is back in play.
The lap cars will get a wave around.
And we'll have many more.
Oh, hang on a second. Because O'Ward and Ferrucci were high enough up, they've already completed their pit stops. So O'Ward in the 5, Ferrucci in the 14, pitted on 186. Palou is a lap down. He'll end up at the tail end of that line, but O'Ward's going to cycle through to the front. Ferrucci will be P2. The other 4 will have to fight it out on pit lane, and then Palou, McLaughlin, etc. will fill in behind that once they get their lap back.
So they still will be in the top 6, but the others will not get their lap back. By the way, earlier on we saw...
Oh, that's a great point.
Yes.
Because they will not pit.
Yeah.
So the top, Palou, McLaughlin, Rossi, Dixon, they are all trapped a lap down.
Well, no, I think they'll get the wave around here. Because once...
But O'Ward won't pit.
Sorry, they won't because Power's...
No, Power will pit. O'Ward will not. He'll become the leader.
I know, but Palou's the next car in line behind Power. So he'll get the wave around.
Copy. because he's a lap down.
By the way,
these short ovals are a headache sometimes.
There's a reason we're not on a timing stand.
There's a lot of them.
The 10 and the 12, we've seen them together on pit lane. We have a note from race control. There's a post-event monetary fine coming up for the 10 for Alex Palou's team for hitting another team's equipment. Also for the 51 Dale Coyne Racing team of Catherine Legg.
What are the sweepers doing? I don't see them on the track, but the track's still probably pretty clean. As IndyCar is also sympathizing with the James and Townsend analysis, trying to figure out exactly what the running order is here.
Part of the issue is the blend line, right, is at the end of pit wall. That's where the order is decided under caution. But because everybody comes out under caution around this apron, they sometimes end up on track out of order. They have now been reordered correctly. The pits can open, and we see Will Power dive to pit lane.
Connor Daly's also going to need to pit. So is Linus Lundqvist. Christian Lundgaard likely as well. Dylan.
And Pato Award, I believe, will stay out, and Santino Ferrucci will as well. So a clean stop for Will Power here at the bottom of the screen should bring them back out third on this restart. As you see one of the Juncos Hollinger cars, that's Daly there, and Linus Lundqvist pitting at the top of the screen.
So Power will win the race of this group.
Quick stop from Lundqvist in the 8 crew, same from Lundgaard in the 45.
How about Lundgaard fighting back into it? He was lapped very early with his 2 teammates in this race, and the Hy-Vee car was running there in the top 5. In the circumstances, the yellow have put them back in play for results.
So right now, on track, Palou is at the lead of the line behind the pace car.
Shown as a lap down.
He's no longer a lap down because Power pit.
Well, we show it on our timing at least as only completing 194 laps.
I think you get the wave around if everyone pits, right? Because Award...
He gets the wave around because the pace car's got to pick up the leader right now, which is Award, who is well back in line.
Still not waving around Palou. The shadows have consumed about half the racetrack now. It's not exactly nighttime.
But man, going through 3 and 4, that is just going to be brutal.
And the track is kind of dirty. So I think it's important that drivers and their spotters are communicating, that the spotters are reminding drivers, yeah, it's a restart. It might be the final one. There's the wave around we've been waiting for. That'll put Palou back on the lead lap. But the spotters have to let the drivers know, hey, be careful. It is not as clean as the restart after the Newgarden Ericsson crash. So be careful.
Yeah, we want to see not only the race order and the positions, but what cars are mixed in there in the middle of those leaders.
Unfortunately, you've got Armstrong there and the 66 of Malukas. They are both a lap down. So unfortunately for this guy, Larry Foyt and Santino Ferrucci, for Santino to battle it out for the lead, he's got to make quick work of those 2 lap cars.
Colton Herta is also up near the front there in a fast car, but only a lap down. But only a lap down. Is he fast enough to think, hey, I'm going to try to race my way to the front, maybe get a yellow and get back in this?
And how about Palou? We talk about risk management, James, all the time. This is the worst restart position he finds himself in all race. Yes, he's running in 7th, but he's got so much lap traffic. And this is where you really have to be eyes up, hands fast, and protect your equipment with 50 to go at the line.
The pits are open if anyone wants to dive in and top off. I think everybody should be safe to make it home at this point. We do see somebody coming in.
That might be more Well, yeah, he hadn't pit. He got a lap back. 151 was the last time he made it to pit lane. So this is just a normal service. He had to take the lap around to get one of his laps back. Pietro Fittipaldi in as well. 5-hour energy machine.
Yeah, so no one in the lead lap stopped.
Catherine Legg in for DCR as well.
So it looks like we have 15 on the lead lap down through Christian Rasmussen. And Colton Herta is not going to have the chance to unlap himself starting up 3rd or 4th in line. He's going to the back of the line for taking emergency service.
He had no choice.
Is that not emergency service?
It is, but there's a penalty for having the emergency service.
Yeah, it's a closed pit was when he entered.
Yeah. It's a bit of a misnomer.
Always best to go ahead and take that emergency service when you have 3 wheels.
Yeah, well advised, although if you had to lose one, the left front's probably the way to go. Georgia, what can you tell us about Pato O'Ward?
Well, I know that the team is coaching him a little bit on restarts. They told him that Santino Ferrucci was incredibly aggressive on Alexander Rossi on the last restart, so they told him just to be ready for that before we go to green.
So, what do we have as far as traffic up front?
We have 2 lapped cars in between this guy, Pato O'Ward, and Santino Ferrucci running in 2nd place. There's David Malukas. And then
just one.
Oh no, we've lost. Oh, 1 pit. Marcus Armstrong was in there. He pit.
And
so
Herta was
just
up there.
1 car. And that's why the team has been saying.
Next time by, remember your hybrid, remember grade 5.
Could be pretty exciting back in the 6th position for Connor Daly. He's been pretty amazing on starts and restarts. He's on for his best finish of the season. This is what Juncos Hollinger expected Connor Daly could do.
Santino Ferrucci also a chance at his best career result. He's finished 3rd in the Indianapolis 500. He's up front. Will Power running 3rd, needs to win to score maximum points in the championship, and that championship leader, Alex Palou, looking to win back-to-back titles for the first time since his advisor, Dario Franchitti, did that in 2011.
Green.
Back to green at the Milwaukee Mile.
Saw some side-by-side action almost before we got to the start-finish line. It's Palou that I'm looking at. He makes a move, and in front, Connor Daly up high on Lundgaard. Going to keep his foot in the throttle, try to get Lundqvist while he's at it. He's got the momentum.
Here comes Connor Daly up to 4th on the backstretch.
Bit of a short oval specialist, a side-by-side championship leader Palou with Lundgaard makes it stick. He is still getting these moves done.
He told us pre-race that I want to be aggressive. That's what got us here. Somebody got way squirrely at the back. Might have been Rinus VeeKay.
Meanwhile, in the front, Power has not been able to make any room up on Santino Ferrucci, still running 2nd.
I don't know what happened here.
It sounded like Grosjean. Little contact in turn 4.
Get ready, guys. Why don't they go score? You fucking go yellow.
Yeah, he wants a yellow to try to save the lead lap.
Go yellow.
Auditioning for a job maybe in race control at some point. Here comes Grosjean off of turn 4.
This is a stop and hold for Colton Herta for unsafe conduct. So is that from losing the wheel or something else?
I don't know how that would be on Colton. What's going on here with Kyle Kirkwood? There's Grosjean at the inside. And it's just a big squeeze with 3 wide. That is a miracle that Kyle Kirkwood hung on to that thing.
You heard him on the radio. Oh my God, he can't believe it.
It knocked his hand off the steering wheel.
The 2 cars kept him straight.
He had nowhere to go. He was just sandwiched between Christian Rasmussen and Romain Grosjean.
I've seen it happen once before. Something similar to me in Indianapolis off of turn 2. Thought I was going around, let go of the wheel, came back straight.
The steering arm for Romain Grosjean. They'll try to get a replacement, but green flag at a short oval. He will drop many positions as Pato O'Ward with a nice gap.
Rossi now getting passed, I believe, by Dixon.
It's got Dixon in his 400th career starts. The only race he's ever missed was here in 2004 when he joked this week, I crashed twice in 4 laps, Chip sent me home, and it was probably time to go home. He was pretty banged up. And at next year's Indianapolis 500, if all goes according to plan, he will pass Mario Andretti for the most starts in IndyCar history, and Alexander Rossi is trying to pass him on track right now for 9th.
Yeah, Rossi, one of the drivers that got hurt a little bit in that yellow flag situation during the stops. He was running up 5th or 6th. Now trying to work on Dixon here. He's doing a really good job sort of doing that crossover, getting the strong runs off of 2 and 4, but Dixon just fast enough on the high line.
Dixon was low in 3 and 4, high in 1 and 2 on the last lap. He stays high at this end of the racetrack. Rossi opting to go low, and now Rossi with a really good run.
Low run. Still in line.
Here comes Rossi.
There it is.
On up inside corner.
That's going to be enough for sure.
Clear right here.
Stayed a little bit higher on entry, didn't try to enter low like he did the lap before. Now he's got to deal with the lap car of Jack Harvey. And we're getting to that point, team. I know we had a lot of laps under yellow, but we're going to get to that point in the next 9 or 10 laps where you really start to see the cars who are taking care of their tires versus the ones that don't. Verizon on board with Will Power. You see the points as they run right now. He closed the gap to 46, but he's not done. He's got his eyes on Ferrucci, and Ferrucci hasn't been able to clear the lap car of David Malukas, so that's what's helping Pato O'Ward pull out to this 2.6-second lead, but Pato now closing up to the back of the field. Stingray Robb last in line.
Battle for 7th here as Scott McLaughlin goes to the inside of Christian Lundgaard with ease. Impressive, Kevin, that Lundgaard, as much as RLL struggled this weekend on outright balance and grip, that he's in the top 10.
And you look at where he's
helping the auto steer.
Gone from starting plus 18 on the day, second best to only Connor Daly, and that's where a doubleheader weekend plays in. Maybe they've learned something to be a little racier all throughout for tomorrow's race, but at least a chance to salvage a result today.
I'll tell you what, James, I don't know how these guys are seeing for 100, 200 feet in the middle of 3 and 4. That sun's still lower. I mean, watch this right here. It's just full glare out.
That is not fun from inside the cockpit for sure. The glare off the aero screen can be quite vicious sometimes as we see Rossi make a big move down into turn 1. Got it done, and he's moving up.
Really great work from Connor Daly, not only to get himself to 4th, but he seems very evenly matched on pace. 34 to go. Like you just talked about, the good cars on old tires should start to really show their stuff here in the closing phases.
There's the championship leader in the DHL Honda, Alex Palou, always doing what he needs to do. He's finished in the top 5 in 12 of 14 races this season. He runs 6th in this one. Much has been made that he's not won an oval race in his career, but he's been solid.
3 to go.
And he doesn't have to win an oval race to win this championship. He just needs to finish the final 3 races.
Hey, he hasn't won an oval race to win the first 2 championships, so that one is for sure fine.
And this was the view that Will Power had a week ago at Portland, coming down the front straightaway at the start. He didn't stay there long. He made a move on Santino Ferrucci.
Focus on timing and exit.
The pole center, he referred to Ferrucci as a teammate, which took me by a little bit of surprise there, as Ferrucci and AJ Foyt have the partnership with Team Penske, but a lot of respect between these two drivers. How much room, how much aggression do they show each other with 31 to go?
Ferrucci prefers
You're working on more close.
a higher line than most, even out on his own. The good news for Power is that leaves the bottom open to try to explore, try to get some clean air and make that run. But Connor Daly lurking in the background. He has caught that group by several seconds. Daly, one of the fastest cars on the racetrack right now. I mean, this guy's he's probably looking for a caution to come out because these restarts have just been unreal.
And Kevin, what would this do in terms of the leader circle battle, the entrant points, the top 22? This could be $1 million drive for Connor Daly today in terms of the reward for his team if they can finish top 22
and look,
this season.
That's why he was drafted in. The 20 of Christian Rasmussen and the 78 of Connor Daly were tied, as you said, coming in. Look where they sit now. Nice, healthy margin.
And maybe even a chance to get a little bit of cushion and catch up with a 30 of Ray Hall, Letterman, Lanigan. This would not be the best finish for Connor Daly if he's here. He's finished second in an IndyCar race, but it would match the second best finish of his career. He's finished fourth before at Watkins Glen. Also finished fifth on an oval at Gateway.
And it would come on a day when Christian Rasmussen is doing a really great, solid job. As here comes Will Power on Ferrucci, looks to the inside.
Trying to get to second, Power.
Oh,
they just about touched. Maybe they did, but Power is through, and Ferrucci charges on, but Connor Daly is going to pounce, and Connor Daly has moved up to third.
Ferrucci has jumped on his tires from getting too high in 1 and 2 when Will Power went. It's going to take him a full lap to get gathered back up and cleaned up for another charge.
And look at that, Alex Palou has gotten around Linus Lundqvist, his teammate.
No shot there.
Top 5.
And I was almost having the teammate debate in my own head about the 12 and the 14. We just talked about how Power referred to Ferrucci as a teammate in Portland. Knowing Power's going for a championship, knowing you want to keep that relationship good, was maybe Ferrucci going to play nice and give that position to Power? He certainly didn't. Power had to take it.
Look at this.
And he just got him back.
I think that was Grosjean. Sorry, not Connor Daly. It's Grosjean, who is 7 laps down, but on fresh tires because of that steering arm change.
And look, his teammate wants him to get around Santino badly, which he's going to do. And if I'm Ricardo Juncos, I am telling him to stay right there and keep a car
between them. This is for position. Palou now getting really valuable points. Ferrucci got pushed high, did a little bit of that Sheboygan shimmy in turn 4 as Palou extends his championship lead with that pass.
So Power got 5 points going from third to second, but Palou has just picked up 2 more positions inside the top 5 to make that back up. So 45 as they run. Basically the weekend, if you finish the weekend and you're up by 55, yes. Well, Power would have tiebreaker at this point because he's won more races. So that's kind of the number you're looking at by the end of the weekend, with the championship coming up in 2 weeks at Nashville Super Speedway.
And this guy right here, Connor Daly, is on the hunt, not just for a podium. Guys, he's only 2 seconds back of the leader. Connor Daly could win this thing.
To get by Malukas to get some more points. Just be there and be ready.
I think Ferrucci got back by Alex Palou as he's got his tires clean and got his groove back a little bit. Next car in line in front of Ferrucci is still the lap down car of Grosjean. Teammates to Daly, I promise you, he has not made any progress on Daly, even with those new tires. The team has told him to hold station, run interference, and help protect that podium position for Connor.
If it doesn't go yellow again, this is going to be a long run, and some cars are not going to handle very well. There's going to be high tire degradation and wear on the Firestones by the end. This one, I think, is far from being settled.
And that's when you get situations where you're making passes on cars and you need to be very, very aware of the fact that their tires are going off. You have to leave a little bit more room than you would 5-10 laps into a stint when everybody's grip level is high. You got to build in a little bit of a bigger margin, or else we get a situation like we saw in Gateway with Malukas and Will Power.
Poor Kiffin Simpson has had the leaders right behind him most of the day today. He is 11 laps down after they had some sort of a mechanical, maybe an electrical issue that kept them on pit lane for a while. That's a miserable day when you're running laps down on a short oval.
Ross McLaughlin on Rossi to the outside. Rossi's going to have another chance here, James.
He's been on a charge since that pit cycle when he got hosed a little bit by the yellow, just showing that this car is very hooked up. We thought after qualifying it was going to be a handful over a 250 lap race, but in the hands of Alex Rossi, it's worked well as Palou still looking to get around Ferrucci.
He may have a comfortable lead in the championship, but Alex Palou said, I won't change anything. I still need to be on attack. And he's trying to attack Ferrucci to get up to 4th.
He's got no pressure from behind. His teammate, Lundqvist, isn't going to pressure him at all, but Lundqvist might be dealing with Rossi here in a second. Nice strong run off of turn 4.
The mission on board gives us a good look. Can Rossi get through here? He cannot.
McLaughlin holding line.
Gonna get some dirty air there from Linus. Oh, on the curb.
Left front, got up on the yellow curb there as Brian Barnhart, the strategist for Rossi, watches on. And I think they're getting hungry because they know Rossi's only 6 seconds back of the leader and on the charge.
Rossi's just got to regroup, take a breath, head down and attack again.
Linus Lundqvist has done a nice job hanging up there. He's running 6. It would be his 2nd straight very successful oval race. And he is going to be the Rookie of the Year. Very significant advantage on Kiffin Simpson. Pato O'Ward still dealing with lap traffic ahead.
This does not look fun at all, does it, James, for a leader to be stuck in capable lap traffic like Colton Herta on used tires, and all you're doing at this point is just like, come on, guys, give me a hand here. Get out of my way.
Tires wearing out every lap. The lane narrows every lap.
He'll let you go.
Yeah, they say that. If you get to Colton, he'll let you go. I'm not sure what getting to him means. Yeah, he's pretty close to him now.
Like, does that mean I have to be side by side?
Yeah, Colton is 4 laps down. Here's Rossi now on McLaughlin into 1. He's going to make it stick.
Up to 7th.
Car 7, P7. McLaughlin now sliding down. This is your pole sitter.
Flight device is irritating. Okay, we'll work on it. We got 15 laps here. Just reset yourself. Let's keep going.
Boy, Pato O'Ward just got super squirrely in the draft of Colton Herta as the Verizon car, Will Power,
he's there,
is on the prowl.
He is there looking for an opportunity. Will lap traffic present that for Will Power to cut into Alex Palou's championship lead?
Big defensive moves coming in front of these guys. That's Rinus VeeKay in the green and black car. Pietro Fittipaldi behind him.
Keep this run.
And VeeKay is trying to stay on the lead lap.
Make sure we get by Herta.
Both are through past Herta, but Power is right there by a car length.
Pato smartly takes all the air away right down to the curb. It's exactly what he has to do in that situation.
A nice late apex, and he knows full well that he controls the air to the front wing of Will Power. But now, Power with a nice run onto the front straightaway. O'Ward had to check up a bit behind Pietro Fittipaldi. Power's close.
Pietro doing a good thing there, just getting out of the throttle just a little bit early, lets those 2 leaders go for it. Power again has the air taken away. Now if O'Ward gets around VeeKay, he's got clear track as Rossi on the outside of the 8. Loses his momentum a bit, had to lift out of the throttle.
Can you pass on the high side?
Great stuff. You know, Rossi never one to lack for bravery or courage, especially in tight circumstances.
Lundqvist is thinking the same thing. I'm going to try to protect the bottom and make him go the long way around. We see it on restarts. More difficult to do.
Rossi doing a really nice job there to be patient mid-corner and then square up the exit, try to unwind the wheel, unbind the car, and get good drive off.
The sun's almost low enough now that it's not as severe for the drivers as it was before as we hit 10 laps to go.
Track temperature now was 114 at one point, now just 90 degrees. So that'll help these Firestones to last for 10 more laps.
The problem for Rossi right now
on exit on both ends.
is that Linus is running wherever the car in front of him isn't. Rossi doesn't really have an option for clean air. As we go back to the front, you see O'Ward in nice clean air. Now, oh!
Boy,
nearly contact down there.
I think that was Grosjean
on Pietro.
With fresher tires after coming in a little while ago. But,
oh! One hand off the wheel for Rossi. What a save. And barely lost any momentum.
I mean, that was
full off throttle.
That was impressive. We're certainly in rodeo land here at the fairgrounds, and Rossi, one hand in the air, one hand on the bull. Great touch, great finesse.
But that's what happens. You start getting frustrated. You know the laps are coming down. You know how fast you are. You want to just make those moves. Carries a little bit too much speed mid-corner, gets to power. Nice correction.
So after you've saved one, do you just say, I'm going to ride home and finish where I'm at? Are you still pushing?
Doubt it. Now, it is a lap car in front. I believe that's Malukas. That's in between Rossi and Lundqvist. And now McLaughlin back in the conversation, looking high.
Got to see this onboard again from Alexander Rossi.
Just watch the right hand. Man, we've seen some quick-handed saves from him.
That's a one-handed quick save.
That was impressive.
Throwing new tricks into the game. Guys, 6 laps to go. Connor Daly is on for a podium at Milwaukee. It's only his 5th race of the year.
And he was dead last most of the practice session on the timing chart yesterday. They were struggling mightily. I think he ended up 24th or 25th in practice.
And it came today. To get to this point, it came after a brilliant start. The bravest guy out there. He went high, made all kinds of moves, up like, what, 11 spots in the first lap or 2? And then he settled into race pace. The team got the job done on pit lane. 4 to go at the line, solidly in 3rd.
Took care of his tires when he needed to, stayed out long, caught that yellow, but since then continued to move up. He ate up cars in the top 5. He's keeping power honest, and he is on track for a brilliant 2nd career podium.
Pato O'Ward has won on ovals before, 2 times, but it's been a couple of years. And since that last win, he's finished 2nd 4 times on ovals. He's ready to break through. He's finished 2nd 8 times on ovals. We know the stats. In his 25 oval races, if he finishes it off, this would be his 17th top 5. Pato O'Ward can pick him up and put him down. He's got a little traffic and he's not home free yet.
You look at his average career finish on ovals, 6.3. This guy's nearly got a top 5 average. He's one of the best in the business at this type of circuit.
Less than 2 to go. He's cleared Marcus Armstrong. Power is a 2nd back.
And this is the kind of day that really favors a driver like Pato O'Ward. Tremendous raw instinct, a great feel, seat of the pants capability behind the wheel, and then those ultra fast hands to make the corrections.
White flag.
All day long. When that thing gets loose, he's ahead of it.
1 mile to go. The championship is going to go to Sunday. Will Power is cut into Alex Palou's lead just a little bit. Palou does what he always seems to do. Finish in the top 5. Championship may not be in play for Pato O'Ward this year, but he's going to join Will Power as a 3-time winner in 2024. Pato O'Ward has won at the Milwaukee Mile.
Hell yeah, man. Great car, great pit stop. Hey. We'll bounce back, everyone. Congrats.
This checkered flag moment is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. Seven career wins for Pato O'Ward. On ovals, he's won at Texas, he's won at Iowa. He's come so close, agonizingly close to winning the biggest race in the world, the Indianapolis 500. Now he's won in the return of IndyCar to the mile. Forget one more coming up tomorrow, 2:30 here on Peacock coverage and on USA.
That's the worst part about doing well on a first race of a doubleheader. There'll be no celebration, or not much of a celebration tonight for this guy, for Connor Daly on a podium, because they got to come back and do it all again tomorrow. But what a brilliant drive all day long. Started 6th, put himself in the position to having made that last pit stop and still be on the lead lap. It was a really well executed day on the racetrack, in pit lane, strategically, everything.
And you think back to the sting in May for this guy, the pain of missing out
on a win at the 500. This has got to be tremendous therapy as they come down the stretch. The team thrilled. They know their driver did a brilliant job today.
By the way, he might be looking forward to tomorrow because his other 2 oval wins were on the second half of doubleheaders on ovals.
Great point.
He's not swept one before, though, yet.
Well, he's going to have a great chance tomorrow. He's going to sleep well tonight. That was a long, tough race for these drivers.
Pato O'Ward is back in victory lane for the 3rd time in the season. Georgia Hinneberry is there.
And you can see the joy from the team. You can see it on Pato O'Ward's face. A 3-time winner this season. And this one is going to mean the world to the team who worked so hard for it. Congratulations in order from his team. But Pato, you told me in Worldwide Technology Raceway you're only going for wins now. How today were you able to back your word up and get it done?
Yeah, we got another one. That's three in the book this year. We had a really tough weekend last week in Portland, and this is a great way to bounce back. We have another opportunity tomorrow, and car was fantastic. It was getting a little gnarly there in the end, but glad I could bring it home for the boys. They were fantastic in pit stop. Strategy was amazing. We worked on the car really hard yesterday to really have something to fight with today, and yeah, I mean, Team Chevy, they brought the power with us, and super stoked for all the team.
Just how intense were those last few laps?
Oh, it was getting wiggly. It was reminding me a little bit of like qualifying, just getting a bit on the nose. The car was changing a lot from start of the race to end of the race. So yeah, I just we'll enjoy it for today, and then tomorrow it's business again.
It's back to work tomorrow. Congratulations, Pato O'Ward, victorious in Milwaukee. Dylan.
Will Power finishes in the 2nd spot today, and the points gap now sits at 43. So it's not a win, but you did what you had to do today. What did you learn today, and how can you apply that to tomorrow to be 1 spot better?
Yeah, I mean, man, very difficult to pass. Not impossible, but car was all over the place with adjustments as you go through the run. But yeah, stoked to get on the podium with the Rise and Chevy. I mean, one more is always what we needed, but Pato was super good and strong, and he got through that traffic really well. And Alex is forever consistent, so it's hard to drop that points gap, but we're doing everything we need to at the moment. We're executing, we're good stops and strategy, so keep digging, man. Keep digging and try and make this a fight to the end.
And you guys had kind of another fortuitous break with the yellow there on the 3rd stop, kind of like Iowa. Sometimes you just need that stuff to fall your way, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of running. It was going to be interesting to either do a big undercut and make track position, which we lost out in the first stint, or you do what we did there and just hopefully catch a yellow, which, yeah, oh my God, perfect timing, but I've had them on the wrong side so many times, so I'll take it every time.
Good day for the 12 team. Will Power finishes 2nd.
43 back in the championship of Alex Palou. Let's take a look at the Pennzoil moment of the race. What determined things for Pato O'Ward and the number 5 Arrow McLaren Chevrolet team. Moving to the front when Colton Herta lost a wheel. Dodd secured an exit of pit lane. They had already stopped. He held off power and wins again. Back down to pit lane with Georgia.
It's Connor Daly. They said it earlier. That was $1 million drive for you. 3rd, a team best. How were you able to do it?
Oh, it feels amazing. I appreciate Ricardo and Brad just giving me a chance. I mean, we've had a lot of bad luck the first 2 times together, and everyone, I think, was starting to be like, oh, was this the right choice? And thankfully, you know, they gave me the car. It's coming for you. They gave me the car today to do it, and thank you to Chevrolet for getting us, you know, the engine last night. Obviously, the penalty today was tough, but just super thankful to everyone here at Juncos Hollinger.
I want to take it all the way back to the start of the race because you were on fire. How did you know that you could go up there and just maneuver your way through the field like that?
Well, I used to watch Thomas Scheckter a lot back in the day, and there's no space that he wouldn't use. So, I mean, if it's up there, you might as well go. So I want to do well in the series. This is my goal, is to be on the podium in the series, and it's been far too long since I've been on the podium, and it's nice to get another one. So I just love racing in this series, and just happy to be here.
He sure made the most of it today. That's Connor Daly, a career best for Juncos Hollinger Racing.
Awesome story. The $1 Million Drive reference, and there's a hug with the car owner, Ricardo Juncos. And that's one of the reasons why the change was made, because the top 22 eligible cars get $1 million approximately each towards the budget for next season. And the 78 and the 20, it's not driver points, it's entry points with multiple drivers over the season. They were tied now plus 16 with 2 races to go. And there's even a little bit more padding, and they have moved ahead of some other teams you can see in entry points. All right, back downstairs to Dylan.
Santino Ferrucci finishes 4th, 9th top 10 of the year for you guys. And the good news is you start better tomorrow. Started 19th today and still were able to work your way forward. How excited are you just about what you guys are doing here, but also for tomorrow and even a couple weeks from now in Nashville?
No, honestly, can't thank this team enough. I mean, we knew we had a good car. We didn't get it right in qualifying. Definitely had it right, especially in the middle part of that race, man. We were moving around. Honestly, hats off to Daly. Obviously, we probably aren't each other's favorites, but credit's due, right? And good to see him on the podium, and he drove a hell of a race. And I felt like there was a couple of us out there on restarts that were just driving all over the place, and it was dirt racing style. I mean, we were throwing sliders into 3. It was awesome.
How much confidence did you have to have in your car to just do what you just explained that you had to do on those restarts? Because there were some guys that couldn't do it.
I mean, I just really trusted the right rear. I mean, I knew I could throw it down into 3, like flat out, turn it in, and just set it, and the thing would just not slide out from under me or push up into the car above me. And honestly, hats off to our engineering crew again. Just killing it, and can't wait for tomorrow. We start a little bit further up, which would be nice. Be a little different in the heat. Obviously, when it got a little cooler, we just kind of lost the overall balance, so I am looking forward to that.
Well done. Santino Ferrucci, 19th to 4th today, Georgia.
Yeah, and it's 12th to 5th for Alex Palou, but it's to my understanding that there was a little bit of a shift throughout the race. So can you kind of take us through the progression of that race?
Yeah, we had a good day overall, but a little bit unlucky there with that yellow. We were a bit aggressive to try and get the lead. And yeah, got that yellow when we were on the outlap and just went to 7th with a lap down. So yeah, not the luckiest of our days, but so far a good top 5. The car was amazing. Everybody did an amazing job on the pits, strategy, and so on. So yeah, looking forward to tomorrow.
And I think the beauty of this weekend is that you get to do it all again tomorrow. So did you learn some valuable information today?
Yeah, and I think I'm happy that we got a good day, good solid day also for the 8 car, that we were running fast, and we look forward to tomorrow. So yeah, hopefully we can improve a little bit the car. I think we learned quite a lot. Everybody did the same, but yeah, hopefully we can be a step above everybody tomorrow.
It was 12th to 5th for Alex Palou today.
And he might be able to wrap up a championship tomorrow if he finishes a few spots in front of Will Power. This is how they finished today at the Milwaukee Mile.
I mean, drive of the day for me, Connor Daly. That's an easy one. Up 22 spots from his starting position. Really just checked all the boxes all day long. Nice to see him and that team with a top 3 finish.
Oh, look, obviously great to see Santino in the top 5. Palou doing Palou things. Rossi showing that McLaren had strength on multiple cars. That caution coming out differently. He could have been maybe further up. And then Christian Rasmussen, second rookie. Linus Lundqvist was ahead of him, but a great drive when he's been put into his only 2nd ever oval race in the IndyCar series.
He didn't know he was doing this race until about Tuesday.
Some heartache further down, no more so than Marcus Harrison and Joseph Newgarden, who came together in turn 2, hard into the wall. Both drivers out for the day.
So we still got plenty more to come this weekend, not only here at the Milwaukee Mile, but with NBC Sports. Tomorrow, Peacock is an option, USA as well. Here, and then the Southern 500 with Lee Diffie and company from Darlington tomorrow night, right after we are done. I enjoyed this so much, I think we might just come back and try again tomorrow.
You're getting pretty good at this stuff, Kev. Nice job today, a lot of fun. James, we got to argue more tomorrow. We agree too much.
I disagree with that. I don't think we do at all.
We'll spend some more time sorting it out this evening. We'll be ready to go tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern Time. Thanks for joining us for James Hinchcliffe, Townsend Bell, Georgia Henneberry, and Dylan Welch. I'm Kevin Lee. Pato O'Ward has won the first half of the Hy-Vee Milwaukee Mile 250s.